Don't say it. Don't say it. No. I mean, that's a really amazing. One of the best albums I've ever listened to. Loveless by My Bloody Valentine. It's 35 years old, and
older than us.
Oh, sorry, I'm just muting the. Yes, older than us, exactly. Thank you, Prude. And also, I say
we have
this
not achieved Unk status yet.
Yeah, and I say this at the bottom of my heart. Really, the bottom of a lot of other things.
It truly is the bottom. Rock bottom.
It really is, exactly. Rock bottom. My God, he rock bottom all the way to hell, King. Dick Cheney, former vice president. Was he? What was he during the Reagan administration, or the Nixon administration? Wasn't he?
He worked in Bush 1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but I thought he was there during Nixon as well.
Maybe. Hold on. I'm just gonna go look it up.
Yeah. So former vice president, we all know him. Richard Dick Cheney.
He was a congressional intern in '69.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he has passed away at 84 years old, 85 years old.
And he was Secretary of Defense under George H.W. Bush.
Oh, really? So he was also responsible for Gulf War I?
No, but partially, sure.
Okay.
You know, I had said on Twitter how long before Cheney revisionism, and as soon as I had tweeted that out, I was like, apparently I had missed the last hour of Twitter. Where, it had already taken place. I had seen everything from Dick being the glorious emperor of neoliberal capital to the all sorts of Nietzschean Ubermensch takes, and I was like, okay, that's enough internet for this morning.
Yeah, I thought it's very funny how the leftists, some of them are like, well, he fought against Trump, like George W. Bush, but then now you have the Nietzschean vitalist / unironic neocon take that Dick Cheney was an Ubermensch, that the conformed world politics to his will. And I don't agree with just to be clear, I don't agree with that.
What a truth.
Yeah, what a truth. No, Dick Cheney was an incredibly evil man. And I don't know how to feel okay, here's my real take is that in an abstract sense, divorced from all of the evil and terror and destruction and how his actions and the Bush administration's actions basically condemned millennials in America, North America, and throughout the Western world to a lot of immiseration, and even equally, not equally, but a million times double. How should I say it? Of course, that doesn't compare to the immiseration that he inflicted upon multiple populations throughout the world. But divorced of all of that, in terms of just a pure cultural analysis, it does feel like I had this joke tweet where I said, the world you grew up in no longer exists, right? But yeah. It's true. Dick Cheney was such an integral part. If you were younger millennials like me and you, Prude, especially you being an Army brat, or a Navy brat, what do we call it?
Army brat, yeah.
It's Dick Cheney was such an integral part of our experience growing up, and he was everywhere.
He was the joke of every comedy. He was the evil emperor running things, despite the fact that Bush came from a well-known political dynasty and was an effective political operator of his own right. But yeah, you're right. In that regard, it is kind of strange that you are right. Your tweet, while funny, is true. The world we grew up in certainly no longer exists because, Dick Cheney has died. This weird era of 2000s politics where the last bits of the American moral majority had effectively disappeared or lost all political power as we know it. And that's just, I don't want to say par for the course because it didn't have to be, but it was a moment where, Dick Cheney had famously had to deal with the fact that one of his daughters was a lesbian and how that would affect his political career. The same thing with Liz later on, only for them to become the never Trump Republican era kind of establishment. And I mean,
Yeah.
here we are now. It's very strange because at the end of the day, like, I think that some of the most principled libertarian writers and thinkers out there will absolutely hate Dick Cheney, but then kind of find themselves in odd bedfellows because, like, now all of a sudden, towards the end or part of his career, Dick Cheney and libertarians both hated Trump. It's strange, and I don't know how to reflect on it because, to me, Dick Cheney is the guy who was always the butt of the joke that, like, he's the only man I know in politics who can shoot someone and get that guy to apologize to you.
That was great. That was like fodder for like the Daily Show and Colbert Report for
like you couldn't create a more like strange political moment than like then and there. But even on top of that, right, like that era of politics is certainly gone.
Yeah.
And that's just, like I said, par for the course. I mean, age and time passes on, but he's gone. Yeah.
I remember, like, when I was younger, I said this to someone, it may have been Wormwood, where I said, like, I hated the movie Napoleon Dynamite because people kept requesting to play it in school when we had movie days. I remember, like, memes used to have, like, a very prominent staying power, like Dick Cheney shooting his friend in the face, or, like, Jib Jab cartoons, or like Britney Spears going crazy. Like, I think because they were often related to mainstream institutions.
Leave Britney
and events.
alone.
Yeah, leave Britney alone. Like the early iteration.
Thanks, Chris Crocker.
Yeah, the early iterations of YouTube, or like Numa Numa or whatever. Like memes, they did have like a staying power. Like you would hear about a meme for like a month or like over, I would say, a few months or even a few years in the case of like mainstream ones. Like Britney, like, Britney Spears' Crash Out or whatever. And it's like, or Dick Cheney, and remember when he was in the wheelchair, that was a very popular thing. Like, but now it's like, we don't even remember memes that happened earlier in the year. Do you remember, I don't know, like what happened even earlier this year? Dino Mommy? I don't know. Well, that was later. What am I?
That was just not too long ago. I mean, also keep in mind, it's been less than 2 months since leftists killed Charlie Kirk in broad daylight, and no real justice has been served.
Seems like
also, I think it's because social media didn't change our perception of time as quickly as it used to back then. There was this post on Facebook, and I know that that's a strange thing to say out loud, but because I don't have Facebook or anything like that. I used to a long time ago, but there was a post on Facebook where it's like, remember, before Facebook and other social media websites, your idea of memes was like 5 friends quoting the same Will Ferrell movie to each other.
Yes. Afternoon Delight. Like, I hated that song. I hate it because the same group of idiots in school would say it. You know who you guys are. I think one guy I know from school listens to this program, but no, it's like they would quote like Afternoon Delight from Anchorman, or it was like it was a terrible. I mean, we look back on it now with reverence, but like when you lived through it,
we didn't know how good we had it.
Yeah, like the School of Rock thing, like it was apparently they're like this is how
stuck the culture is.
This is how stuck and brain fried millennials are. They're bringing back an adult version of iCarly. Like Quentin Reviews just like coomed all over the place. Like,
So a modern, is it like a sequel series to iCarly?
I think it's like something like that. It's a
it's gonna be E-Girl Carly. Like, oh my gosh.
But she's 40 years old.
She's 40 years old and she thinks she still got it after the divorce. And what is she doing? She's a titty screamer. And this is exactly how we'll rehabilitate Dan Schneider for like 40-year-old MILF feet. The
culture needs this.
The culture does not need this.
Dan Schneider, the Nightmare Vision take on Dan Schneider.
I still need to go watch that documentary before I make any more jokes.
It's on BitChute.
It's on
everyone
it's
in
on
that
Tubi.
Documentary. Yeah, it's on Tubi. Everyone in that documentary, everyone was a PDF file except for Dan Schneider. Like that was the whole. And in the 4th episode, to spoiler alert, they had to like make up stuff to hate Dan Schneider. They had to like bring in that guy who was like the only black kid. And like, yeah, Dan Schneider was a racist. as an African American man in therapy, I know that Danny
As an
Trejo is
African
racist.
American man in therapy.
That's
That's
literally
when
the
you know
first
that
sentence.
real expertise is about to hit the floor. As an African American man in therapy.
So I have a few other news items. So Dick Cheney, millennials, total loss. The word you grew up in no longer exists. Number 2,
Good
Frieza.
question mark?
Yeah, no, not good. I condemn Dick Cheney.
No, I meant the world I grew up in no longer exists.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. So we'll talk a little bit as we read this article. Number 2, Frieza had this. Dean Kissick was talking about this. Frieza had their 100 pieces of the most influential art in our century, and no painting, no real digital art either, just like digital videos. Nothing about 9/11, no indigenous art, and which was very weird, very strange. And it was, if you go through the list, I mean, some of those works are pretty good. Some of those are pretty influential, even the ones that are like what I'm about to say. But it really was exactly what Bret Easton Ellis said, the now iconic words, even though you just said it a few weeks ago, liberal mustiness. And it's like, I'm like the first person to hold back and be like, well, there's a lot of gems in the contemporary art world. But Frieza is just like a horrendous organization. Their big show they had this year, the few paintings they did have, one of them was exposed as AI. And so they couldn't even like detect that it was AI. And it was such a strange, like, of course, I think number 2 was the infamous sugar baby statue by Kara Walker. Me and Matthew the Stout, we extensively went through it a few years ago when we talked about the Sanford Biggers statue, the Chimera one, like the black kid with the big head in the middle of Rockefeller Center. No, like, it was just so strange. Not a single, like, if you even have this like liberal mustiness, right? Like, wouldn't you include someone like Kenda Wiley if you wanted, like, no, not a single painting, not a single physical actual painting or a digital painting. Like, it was so strange. And it was a lot of it, like a lot of these contemporary art world people trying to like thumb their way or stumble their way through like AI and information technology and stuff that they don't know anything about. It was a very strange disconnect. So Frieza is, in my opinion, and I say this because I know I will never, the only time I would probably ever be profiled by them would be some kind of massive cancellation. So to me, Frieza is a totally illegitimate art world institution, as most avenues of the contemporary art world are totally illegitimate. And yeah, it was just very sad. And I think Dean Kissick said something similar. It was very strange, very sad, smacked of liberal mustiness. It was all just activist kitsch. And it was gussied up as sort of like, but anyways, that's my little rant. And then thirdly, massive, I forget who, I think it was, I forget who said this. It may have been Charlie Mack or maybe someone else. Yeah, my weekly stream Maple Leafs take. The Toronto Maple Leafs came back from a massive. I was screaming at the television. I was defeated. I'm like, this is it. This is the year they're not going to make the playoffs. It's over. This group can't produce anything. Against the Pittsburgh Penguins, they came back from a 3-0 lead by the Pittsburgh Penguins to have 4 straight goals. 2 of them were by William Nylander. And it was incredible. I couldn't believe it. I was crying. It was incredible. It was something. I could not believe it. Could not believe that. And apparently it's like very rare to come back from 3-0 deficit in the third period after 40 minutes of play. And so I couldn't believe it. So anyways, yeah, that's my rant over. Do you want to talk about the Mandani thing? Let's just get it over with. My take is that it doesn't matter. Who cares? And who else are you going to vote for in New York? Chris Cuomo? No.
I guess. Well, let's just go see.
Silwa?
The results should be pouring in.
Okay. I know you probably have a take.
I don't have much. Polls are open until 9 p.m. Eastern, so we have another hour before anything comes in. Maybe by the end of the show, we will get something going in. They've already, according to CBS News, they've already called the Virginia gubernatorial election for Abigail Spanberger. So there you go. Although 42% of it are in, so we'll see. 17% of the polls just in, or of the votes counted in so far. It certainly looks like it. We don't know yet with New Jersey. A lot of people are saying that Jack Ciccarelli has a chance. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know how much to really say here because this is an off-year election. But also, two of these elections are particularly, well, all three of these elections are particularly important. I mean, for me in Texas, there were just a few propositions and local offices that I voted for earlier today during my lunch break. And that was about it for me. And then, yeah, I mean, these things they are important, obviously, especially if you live in those states. So I hope that you did your civic duty when it came to that time. So we'll keep you posted as the episode goes on. I don't know how much I have to say about the Mamdani thing, other than like we're gonna have our own Sadiq Khan, and this is only possible because of the Great Replacement. Like I don't like that. There's really not much else to add there, other than like unfettered immigration took a city that had America's mayor and was ravaged by strange Middle Eastern meddlings in 2001 to now have strange Middle Eastern meddlings run on a program of just like think Scandinavia but brown, and that's what I have to deal with in this country, and it's tragic.
Yeah, it's and I think like I know like I know it's funny because like we were talking before the show about the old guard. I mean, we even talked about Dick Cheney, how they're sort of like pressing the buttons of like, okay, he's a radical Muslim Islamist. It's like, no, Mamdani is not an Islamist. He's not going to put every art hoe in Dime Square or in Bushwick
in a burqa.
That's not happening. Okay, it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse than any like sort of like Malmo, Sweden, fierce spirit. Not to say like worse in terms of, like physical essaying and violence, but I mean like in terms of what he represents, he doesn't represent the sort of like fierce-bearded Muslim youth.
Just think London
of Malmo, Sweden, or whatever. Yeah, or London. It's like it's not that. It's is Sadiq Khan really okay? I shouldn't say that because
I mean he is pro-Islam, and
he's pro-Islam to the extent that he lets his own people, more or less do whatever they want. But like in terms of the ideology, it's not like the Bill O'Reilly like. They're building a mosque in Ground Zero, Freedom Fries, like radical Islam, the counter jihad coal poster. It's not like that. It's more of like Mamdani is the perfect DSA cell millennial candidate. Like he is. It's like everything about him just doesn't. I like. Oh my god! It's just. But at the same time, I feel like there's a sort of there's an inflation because like a lot of posters and a lot of media people are from New York. And so it's like for months now, that's all we've been hearing about is the Mamdani revolution. And I don't know, like in New York, like what option do you really have? Like what, Chris Cuomo or Silwa or like, who is the Republican even?
That is Silwa.
Oh my God.
He is the Republican candidate.
I wouldn't vote for Silwa because he said that Art Bell was the Antichrist or Art Bell was going to bring... Did you know about this?
No, I don't.
He had a radio show in the 90s and he said that Art Bell was the harbinger of the Antichrist. I don't know, like, why he would say that. That was... But, like, Silwa, like, he does... like
if the Antichrist is around and we are near truly the end times, I wouldn't be surprised if the devil had a phone call on Art Bell's show. I wouldn't be really surprised.
Yeah. But no, it's just like Silwa, he does have that particular, like the vibe of New York City, or at least what New York City was. Like he does have that like New Yorkian cadence and like his mannerisms. But from what I heard, he's like just a middle of the road Democrat. Like he's not really.
Welcome to New York, I guess.
Welcome to New York. Yeah. Put the art hose in Dime Square and burkas. Thank you, Oswald. That's pretty funny. No, but like it's just like I don't know, like Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of like there's all the think pieces ready to go about Mandani, but I just don't have a real like truth nuke there. Other than things are going to get worse. That's pretty much it.
Well, that's always the
So
safe bet when talking about like progressive urban politics.
yeah,
It's just like I don't know what else to add in the regard of like, okay, things will get worse, sure, but it's tragic because this is also, you know, America's financial capital. This is considered to be the most like American, you know, city, or like the city that defines sort of the hub
the
of
shining
the
hill on the rock.
Well, not even, but I mean a little bit.
It's the center of the universe, New York City.
Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. So
we got to deal with this shit show, you know.
Yeah. But moving on, is there any other news items?
SNAP is not yet funded, although I think that the president has said that he wants to half it and to require that people on SNAP try and work 80 hours a month. So 2 weeks worth of work in a month is what he's asking for.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of his administration, they certainly tried to, you know, ask states who were on, you know, programs related to SNAP. That way they could check for who's a citizen and who isn't. And 2 blue states did sue the administration at the beginning of the year. So, but the government continues to be shut down. There's not really an answer in sight to that particular issue. In part because it is interesting, though, because it's like everyone's asking the question, well, like, technically your party controls everything. And it's just like, well, we both know how this works now, don't we?
Yeah.
But this is what we're dealing with. I don't have too much else to really add, although it is a particularly strange time, I think, right now, while everyone is so focused on, say, these elections, which are important, but also there is the ongoing... What's the word I'm looking for? There is the ongoing sort of like, well, what the hell's going on with Venezuela? There's always a rumor every other week that we're going to bomb them. That remains to be seen, although I've kind of been told that it's more likely than it isn't that we'll probably do airstrikes in that area. And then at the same time, you know, everything else has been going on my timeline, which has been the ongoing battle of what does it mean to be a part of the conservative movement.
Oh, boy.
I thought it was particularly interesting. It felt incredibly well timed. Michelle Goldberg wrote a piece today about Charlie Kirk's successor, allegedly. And then at the same time, former Vice President Mike Pence had put out a book about what it means to be conservative. Ben Shapiro has been on a tear, and everyone's been trying to cancel the fucking Heritage Foundation for simply saying that he's not going to try and cancel Tucker Carlson and instead just not distant, you know, or I'm just going to keep, I'm not going to, I mean, he said basically, I'm not distancing myself from him. So basically, you know, you can say whatever you want about that interview, but like Tucker has effectively forced Koenig's hand into like, okay, like you can have your ordeal of civility. Like you don't have to like who I interview. And there are plenty of people that Tucker has had on. I'm not referring to Nick here. I'm referring to other people that have openly lied about their like situation or status about like what they did in like say Wall Street or whatever. And so it's like this is actually he is the least of my problems.
Or people that's participated in the Iraq War, like
that too.
Eric Frens.
There's some interesting stuff there that's definitely worth looking into. So nevertheless, right, like I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, it is good, in my opinion, that Tucker has forced the issue, and this seems to be right now what everyone's doing, which is, what are we fighting over? It appears to be Israel, or at least like the role in which American conservatism plays when it comes to Middle East
national
politics.
Middle East,
which that seems to be what we're going to be fighting about, at least for the next several months. Is that going to be perhaps the best thing that we could be doing, spending our time? Maybe not. Time will tell. But at least for right now, that seems to be the ongoing battle. And I think it's particularly sad. I think we had said it just a little, we just talked about memes a second ago. It's been less than 2 months since they killed Charlie Kirk. And I think that it's particularly depressing that the left that the right wants to have this Buckley-esque cancel like little ditty, rather than understand that like, hey, your enemies are happy to watch this play out.
Yeah, of course.
Because to them, this just means that you guys are going to fight while more people get killed.
But the thing is, like, the thing is, though, and it's like,
and they know this. They
well,
know
mainstream,
this.
yeah, of course. And mainstream conservatism, I hate to say it, like, this is the issue where the right does not have any moral high ground, in my opinion. Like, some of you may disagree with that, but like, which is fine, I understand. But my sentiment is that being wedded to this cause, without saying too much, again, not going to say a lot, because if I do, I might get in trouble. Being wedded to this cause is the hugest moral bugaboo. It's the hugest yoke around the neck of the right in North America, in my opinion. And yeah, that's all I will say. And there is no ground from which these people can operate on any moral or even philosophically concise level by wedding themselves to this particular thing. And that's all I will say. So you could probably guess, but yeah, it's a huge thing. And without going into specifics, I think the one positive thing is that there are people that are even substantially aligned with older institutions of conservative Inc. who are starting to speak out against it, or at least question the whole narrative. So
I think what has also been
thing.
particularly entertaining, or at least interesting, has been the what's the word I'm looking for? It's been fun to watch the H-1B debate go on, and our friend Woke Capital, he wrote a really good article on just like a simple American company that had been taken over, and the demographics of a Tennessee town has been like utterly destroyed. Which him and Matt Forney have done so much great work in the last 2 months on this particular issue that it has nothing but my highest level of respect to know that, there's, I think I could feasibly say millions of people on the internet of a particular geographic persuasion that will do everything in their power to dox and to get your account banned and to report you and to Photoshop disgusting headlines of like your mother and stuff like that. For the sake of
your mother's OnlyFans.
Yeah, right, which is not you. But, they did that to, what was it, Tyler Oliveira, right? The guy who went to the festival and filmed it.
I think they did that to iHypocrite, too.
I think they also did that to iHypocrite. Yeah, they've done... There's a countless list of people who I listen to or I like that have experienced this. And so for them to go out and to do that, my respect and endless props to them. But it is also funny because I think some of them also know which way the wind is blowing. I think that it's particularly interesting that Nikki Haley, who at least in my book is for all intents and purposes a leftist, is, because she at one point in time and said during like the campaign primary in I think it was 2023, where she had like, yeah, I was the brown girl. And it's just like, okay, well, then ethnic grievances aside, like I kind of know where you're going to side on all these issues. We had Harmeet Dillon basically kind of like slightly, imply a threat with her office being the DOJ's civil rights, division about anti-Sikh discrimination because she herself is one in the midst of all these like trucker accidents and people who don't speak English, people who shouldn't be here. And then on top of that, what kind of killed me though was like her son.
I was gonna say Nayland Haley. Hard as nails, Halen.
Yeah, he's had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. I can't believe it. He's like the son is like a million times more like pissed than the mother. That's like funny. I don't know.
I think he just knows what time it is.
Yeah.
I think he has a genuine clue of like, oh shit. Like, there's going to be, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, at least for the Republican Party, like, whites are they're the voters. Like, you saw this in the Republican National Convention, where it was like a bunch of guys feeling like really out of place when Harmeet came up there to pray. And some had said this was because they weren't expecting Trump to be there. Others were saying this is because, like, there is a growing number of people. Like, she ran for the Republican National Party chair.
Yeah.
She lost to Ronna McDaniel, or at least for one of the votes to oust McDaniel. And that sentiment was also echoed coincidentally by Vivek on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
And I think that in the midst of all this, Vivek has kind of he had a very interesting tweet the other day where he was just like, we should end identity politics. And I'm like, you had a huge crash out on the nativity of my God about why people like me are mediocre and stupid and aren't the mathletes. Like this, you know, I'm sorry you didn't bag Stacy, but like at the end of the day, that's all that this felt like to me was this like strange, how did Paul Scholas like call it out? It's just like brown rage.
I can't believe Paul Scholas of all people said that.
And this was after he got his like GQ.
New York, yeah, like his New York Times profile. But no, it's very fun. Like, I wonder if like Nikki Haley is like telling her son, like, listen, you got to calm down at the dinner table. Like, stop frog posting. Like, put the phone away. Like, it's just.
Is Haley still married?
I think so.
Okay, well then that probably would help a lot because like it probably helps keep the peace. Because it's like there's no way in hell she doesn't go and see this, or she doesn't have.
She probably sees what her son's posting.
Yeah, like it's not like she doesn't understand or doesn't see that there is someone on her social media team where it's like, yeah, Mrs. Haley, I hate to inform you, but like your son is like posting.
Nick Fuentes memes.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like I don't know if he has, but like it wouldn't surprise me. It's just this is where things are going, and I had said this literally the day after the election in my like morning after piece, where I was just like, all this is the future is going to be like the growing growing influence of the subcontinent in American Republican Party politics.
Yeah, but well, it's it's a very strange thing that the Republican Party is trying to like gin up.
I don't think it is.
Well, there was this hilarious thing about the alliance between the Hindu and this other faith at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh yes,
that was funny.
The Hindu.
Don't say.
Yeah.
That was very funny. No, but I think like there is again, it's a part of it really is a part of the sort of agenda where, and I think because it was bidding for the platforms such as Twitter being given more license to people like, you know, the woke cancel me, blah, 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 or however, like the average Republican politician.
However you want to frame it.
Yeah. A lot of it was sort of like the refinement culture of Silicon Valley that was very attractive to a Republican Party that for a lot of, you know, for all of my criticisms of Trump, has really been decimated by Trumpism in terms of the model of politics. And it's very funny. We're talking about this on the eve of Dick Cheney's death, right? A lot of it was a sort of bid for relevance into a form of culture that was racially, religiously, and identitarianly wise blind, and trying to hone like, okay, this is where the quote unquote builders and creators of America are. And we have to get back to this like Reaganite vision of post-Cold War conservative politics in America, where we're still building things and we're doing things. And, you know, maybe these people are sufficiently pissed off at quote unquote the woke. But the bid for that is like, okay, this like for years, for decades, certainly for as long as I've been interested in politics, since I was even like, you know, I don't know, in grade 8 or whatever, even before high school, it always seemed to me that conservative politicians throughout the Anglosphere, I don't know, even in some parts of like the non-Anglosphere West, like in France, like even the far right always had this like thing about Islam, for example. Not all of them, but I mean, like there was, you know, like Sorrell, for instance, like there was always this, for as long as I could remember, this conservative politician obsession with like the model immigrant, or like the like based, you know, the based African American, the based model immigrant that like, you know, and it seems that the sort of Silicon Valley H-1B thing was really like the perfect opportunity for mainstream GOP politicians, as the failed bid for relevance in the Sikh community was for the conservatives here in Canada, which Polyev is like slowly, quietly sort of like jumping back from, even though when it doesn't even matter, because like he lost. So now he can be like, yeah, I think we have to restrict immigration, when he should have been saying that when he was running, right? So Republican politicians.
Well, now
in the
that his
States,
like moment is over politically, like I don't think I don't think that he has another chance. I could be wrong. I mean, if he decides to run for office again, or if he's going to be put up as the potential prime minister for his party in the future, then like so be it. Like that. I mean, he can go for it. I don't think it will do him well.
No, of course
because
not.
now all of a sudden it's going to be him walking it back. Like, oh, I think we should restrict immigration. Okay, cool.
Or Giovanni, like talking to certain nationalists or whatever. Like they're going to walk it back, and it's going to be embarrassing, and it's going to be like, what, they're going to lose a fifth time? Like it's, but in America, it's the same deal in certain ways, and that Republican politicians, of course, in America, you don't have the same degree of Indian immigration. And so you're not getting like a huge cross section.
No, but they happen to be in the most important sort of sectors.
Right.
Of the economy.
Yeah. Which is still, not good. But like, no, but what I mean is that like for the Republicans, it's very easy for them to make this case of like, these are like model migrants. But the average Republican, to which even a lot
still believes in that kind of claim.
Right. The average Republican is either skeptical or has outright moved on from that claim. Like, we don't live in like the early to mid 2000s anymore.
We don't live in Dick Cheney's era.
Exactly. We don't live in Dick Cheney world anymore. So it's going to be like very interesting what happens in the next 3 years as the Republican Party tries to figure out what's going to happen after Trump. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, the successor to Trump will be picked will probably be J.D. Vance. Or it could be, who knows, maybe someone unknown. Maybe, I don't know, like but I mean, the safe money is on J.D. Vance.
It certainly seems that way.
Yeah, and whoever the Republicans can put up as a sort of like reconstitution of their own identity. I mean, who do they really have that are like under the age of 60?
At the present moment, people you've probably already heard of.
Yeah, like, are they going to bring back? I keep who is that one guy there that like Michael Savage really liked? West.
Allen West.
Allen West. How old is he?
He's too old for starters. Yeah. I don't think he ever ran for president.
No,
he did run in the. I think it was. He did mount a primary campaign against Abbott a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and, it didn't work out.
No, it did not, despite the fact that it certainly raised the important issues about immigration, or that like Abbott is not conservative enough, were certainly in the forefront of everyone who ran against him. They ran against him to his right. No one ran to the Republican primary to Abbott's left, and that will remain to be the case. Yeah. Which is why people like Don Huffines and others are running for other positions as Abbott kind of limps along, which is kind of sad because in the midst of all of this like H-1B discussion, everyone and their mother is watching Abbott kind of be like the pro-Indian guy, in part just because like it's the tech sector. Like, what else is there going to be?
Right.
As frustrating as it is.
Yeah.
But no, Allen West is too old. I mean, I've met the guy. He's he's not running for anything. If anything, he'll just maintain being a nice, sort of occasional guest on a program and living out the rest of his days.
Judge Napolitano, or
why would you want to be a politician when like your entire livelihood is just not doing politicians' work, but just like criticizing or being
I mean
outside.
Like Allen West is going on.
Oh yeah.
No, but like who else do they have? They have nobody. They have maybe, I mean, what are they going to do? Thomas Massey? No, they can't, because Thomas Massey's a critic of, they have no, like,
There
who
will,
do they
but I
have?
mean, like, this is the
Who do
thing.
they
Is that there
have?
will be a push to have a post-Trump Republican Party.
Yeah.
And there will be, I'm sure there'll be tech guys, maybe like a tech sector person or something. I wouldn't be surprised if you had that.
Well, JD Vance kind of is that.
But JD Vance is that. But like maybe more libertarian or something like that. Right now, the future of the Republican Party is just going to be based on whoever's in the current administration. It's not going to be anything. I mean, what comes from the outside, I don't know yet. I think time only.
Would they run a woman again?
Inevitably a woman will run. I don't think, I mean, who is it that decided to run? Oh, Nancy Mace is running for governor, or she announced her gubernatorial election.
President Mace.
That's a terrifying thing to think about, but I mean, that's a possibility. Why not? That's on the table, I suppose. Right now, really, it's going to be like, what's the future of the Democratic Party? Because there will be white Democrats or white.
Don't worry, Hype On. We're
to run.
the art. Don't worry about it.
Oh, we'll get to the art. We'll get to the art. This is not going to last long.
This is just the slop.
This is the first 45 minutes of slop. Then we get to the good stuff for an hour, and then we answer your questions. Yeah, this is the digital archipelago formula that has served us for almost 3 years now.
Yeah, pretty much.
There are enough episodes to last you every week of the year for almost 3 years.
We really should like do super cuts of like where we, like differentiate one from the other. But
we should.
Anyways. No, so yeah, it's been almost 45 minutes, so let's cut to the chase. But
long story short, the Democratic Party is going to have a weird identity crisis, fight for its soul in the same way they're trying to do so now, as they realize that Trump's out of the door. But like Trump has a successor, whether it's Vance or Rubio or whoever. Dems don't, and I think that it's going to be a weird fight between people like Andy Bashir, and Mamdani types. It's going to be like the white liberals versus the people that they helped immigrate into the country. But there's my take. That's the fight that's going to come.
Maybe Blue Caesar Gavin Newsom. But who knows?
Who knows?
Anyways,
we'll find out when we get closer.
And I don't really have a take on the New York City thing. That's for people who live in New York, I guess, would have like.
I'll wait for Night Owls.
I'll wait for the Night Owls one. So this article, it is. We had a few options. I think my first impulse was to do the liberal kitsch one. The liberal.
You should do that when you get closer to your book coming out.
Probably. And I don't know. You said you didn't read the Gooning article in Harper Magazine, so we can't really. Maybe we'll mention that next week.
That's a little too masturbatory.
From what I read, it was all right, but I think I forget who said it. It was some anon that said anytime one of these mainstream writers tries to do like a hip internet counterculture thing, it inevitably lands flat, and it will always sort of reify the conditions by which that subculture comes together. And it's like you're sort of taking people out of the wilderness and you're putting them in a zoo, and it's just never good. So this article, for what year is this from, by the way? And Steve, those super chats, which is I forgot to show. Can we hit the goal? And please, give deep. Things are not very good in Canada. And
this is Gio's job. This is not my full-time job. This is Gio's full-time job. Give him the love and support that you can.
So there you go. So this article was originally published in, I want to say, the early 2000s. Let me actually look this up. But this is comparing the artwork of Edward Hopper, which is one of my favorite artists. Pretty much, in my opinion, one of the best artists that America has ever produced. And the films of Michael Mann, to which I've only seen a few Michael Mann films. I mean, everyone's seen Heat, right? Like Heat is
one of the greatest films of all time.
Yeah, one of the greatest films of all time. And
or at least one of the greatest crime films of all time.
Oh, this was published in 2008. So it's very funny how this was published right during the financial crisis. I think as we read this article,
you're gonna feel it.
You're gonna feel it. Yeah,
you're gonna feel
it. So,
Michael Mann is also the first director to get a crack at Hannibal Lecter before Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I think this one is talking about his like early 80s like noir crime films. So this is really about not just film but also the world of painting, and he does mention a lot of David Hockney works as well, and sort of like the plasticity of like modern American life. And so let's go to the screen share and let's read away and do what the Digital Archipelago is good at doing. So share screen. Where is it?
To
Here it
borrow a
is.
line from another show I do, we read so you don't have to.
Exactly. All right, there we go. And I know the text is small, but please need those super chats.
Don't worry, we will narrate it with our beautiful voices.
All right. Richard Combs claims that Michael Mann's films have an opaque or self-enclosing quality that frustrates interpretation. One reason for such resistance is that Mann's cinema is often busy and relentless and restless. His work shifts constantly between realism and abstraction, the epic and the intimate, the kinetic and the reflective. As Combs suggests, Mann's films are about transformation or becoming. This is particularly true of his style, which operates poetically, materially, sensually, and effectively. To express the style of a Mann film is to live in the flux. To paraphrase Combs or Jean-Baptiste Thorat on Miami Vice. Miami Vice is also another great film. That truly is a legendary film. As it unfolds, moving within them between its various registers and the range of stylistic devices Mann deploys, this style can seem elusive. How do we, for example, say everything about the image and sounds of Ali or The Insider? Oh, he did Ali?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What was like, I know like a lot of like frogs on Twitter, they have this obsession with heat, besides it being like, I think like a depiction of masculinity that is unencumbered by a lot of like current typical Hollywood culture industry shibboleths. But what is like the, for lack of a better term, like what is the base take on Heat? Why is Heat? I mean, it's a masterpiece of cinematography, especially the shooting scenes. But what's the real red pill on Heat, Prude?
The real red pill on
Did Morgoth and Endeavor cover Heat? Or,
I think they've covered it. I so have some of our friends on Last Things Picture Show. I mean, for me, I think it's because Robert De Niro embodies the archetypal. Like, he's a man who doesn't follow his own advice. Because what's his downfall of the film? What gets him killed is that, you know, there's something that he can't leave behind in 30 seconds flat. The same thing that he tells Val Kilmer to do so. I don't know. Like, it's that desire for one more score. It's the old man going out with a bang. It's that last stand. It's everything. I don't know. There's no red pill to give when it's just a good movie. Like I'm sure there's a great, you know, esoteric take you could give on it, but it's a fantastic film of two, like the whole "You're Not So Different, You and I" thing. It's literally embodied by Al Pacino and Robert De Niro from the LAPD versus the Career Thief. Like it's good. And you see that both have the same problem with connection and intimacy, all of it there, because both of those guys, they live or die by their careers. And that's
they're like
exactly
modern cowboys in a way.
They're the closest thing we have to a cowboy. Yeah. Like Al Pacino getting to go out and run down middle of Los Angeles to go try and gun down some bad guys. That's the closest thing I'll get to a modern day shootout at the OK Corral. And I'm fine with that. It's good. I think it's the film that everyone remembers because it's arguably Michael Mann. It is Michael Mann's best, although Collateral is pretty darn good. I like Collateral.
Collateral's great. Yeah, Collateral's great.
I have not seen Ferrari. Michael Mann's movies I've seen are Manhunter, Thief, Heat, Last of the Mohicans, Ali, The Insider, and Collateral. And I think that the opening bit of the article is very true. Like, it's not that I don't think it's that Mann's films are hard to define, but they do heavily go between action and intimacy. He does very quick cuts, directionally speaking, with regards to character work between a man who knows what the hell he's doing. Like Collateral's a really good example, versus like a man who is wearing his heart on his sleeve and is pouring out his soul. He does a very good job with that. I think the movie where he's the most character driven though is Ali, just because it's a biopic, obviously. But I mean,
wait, who played Ali? I
forget. Will Smith.
Oh yeah, Will Smith. That's right. Yeah, Will Smith. That was when he started. Like, he's like, I want to be a serious actor now. Wasn't
In
that the film where he did it?
2001. Yeah, it's right around the same. He had a very strong and weird early to mid 2000s streak of really wanting to do serious roles.
Yeah. Well, like there was that one. There was
Pursuit of Happiness, 7 Pounds.
Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah, 7 Pounds. Yeah. Pursuit of Happiness. I remember I saw it like, I remember in school seeing it like a few times, but I never saw the ending for some weird reason. It was always like I had to go to the washroom or like something like that. What was the ending of Pursuit of Happiness? Spoiler alert.
Oh boy.
He finds his way.
I've not seen this movie in years.
In like 20 years almost. Yeah, 15 years.
2006. And it's spelled wrong. That was the thing that always pissed me off about that.
Oh, movie. Yeah, that's right. It was spelled wrong. Yeah. But it's good that you're acquainted with Michael Mann films because I'm more acquainted with Edward Hopper.
I think it's just that he gets the job. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, that's right. He gets the trading job.
He gets the trading job. He gets the job after the internship.
No, but like there is, I mean, apart from like you can speculate into like Heat being like this tale of masculinity or whatever, but like, you know, and there's obviously like the sloppulist take on it, like he's literally me sort of deal. But I think like you were saying, at the end of the day, it's about two outlaws on different sides of the law. But I think like the difference with Heat is that it does seem ambiguous. Like, for example, the dinner scene between Al Pacino's character and Robert De Niro, where they're talking about like where Al Pacino's like, I'm going to get you one day. You know that, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. It's like we're just doing our job more or less, right?
Yeah.
But it's like it's not as an amoral, nihilistic universe as, say, The Sopranos, where everybody's an outlaw, everybody's terrible. And in the very end, there was actually one of these Better Sopranos channels that had this video essay. It was only like 10 minutes long about Tony Soprano after he had the psychedelic trip in the desert with peyote. And he's like, I get it! With the you know, the Lady of the Night.
Yeah.
And really what he gets is that nothing he does in this world is of any consequence. And in fact, when he does even more evil, he's rewarded for it. And the moral order of the universe is sort of like skewed towards, like The Sopranos at the end of the day, as much as we obsess over it, is a very nihilistic film. Sorry, very nihilistic series. Whereas Heat, like at the very end, there is like a moral ambiguity. I notice like throughout Michael Mann's career, there is like this theme sort of similar to who did 8mm and Bad Lieutenant? I forget his name. Like there is an ambiguity morally, but then at the very end it pulls back and like, oh yeah, Robert De Niro is like a bank heist man. He is a criminal, and Al Pacino is in the right. Whereas in The Sopranos, the only karmic debt that is paid is the alleged death of Tony Soprano. And even then, it's like, who knows if he was actually whacked. I mean, he probably was, but, you know. But anyways, moving on. The analysis of Michael Mann's films is therefore an incremental process. In this article, we hope to make contribution to it through the comparison between some aspects of Mann's work and that of the American artist Edward Hopper. Mann does not appear to have been directly influenced by Hopper. Rather, it is our contention. Well, some people actually claim that Mann was actually influenced by Hopper. Is our contention that they have elective affinity. They're both realist artists who transcend the style. Mann positions himself as a realist filmmaker and storyteller, but his films contain many abstract moments, while Hopper has been classified as both a realist and a visionary. They belong to a long history of American artists who capture a longing or despair in American lives that contradicts and subtends the national ideology of optimism. Mann and Hopper emphasize the relationship between characters and spaces in their work. Both men portray a range of lonely figures that are juxtaposed with a consistent set of visionary motifs. The ocean, the window, the anonymous places of urban life. These figures are often framed in a pensive moment. As they reflect quietly on their circumstances, accordingly, we will explore, albeit in a somewhat speculative manner, the melancholic sensibilities and visual traits in the art of Michael Mann and Hopper, as well as their remarkable capacity to capture singular moments in time. So I think like that word realism, as an artist, we have to as an artist myself, I have to clarify this. No one would accuse Edward Hopper of being a quote unquote realist in the sort of like slop term of realism as the affinity towards reality, or a sort of like photorealism where it's like, oh, gee whiz, look at that. I can paint something that looks like a photograph. What he means by realism is this sort of like depiction of real life that has been divorced or decoupled from classical genre motifs of Western painting, be it religious themes or mythological themes, or the pretense towards something that is, although I would argue that in Hopper's work, you do see a little bit of the metaphysical, but for lack of a better term, the metaphysical, whereas realism would depict, and there's different forms of realism, but it means to like a sort of a sense of, and this comes from the French artist Gustave Courbet, who is a pre-impressionist. This comes from a sense of like going directly to the thing itself, phenomenologically, and experiencing it in that moment. That is what Edward Hopper is doing. It's not realism in the way that there's like this vulgar tradism where it's like, realism is like, that looks like a photo and I can paint really good. Because, a lot of people criticize Hopper for his figure work not being like to the level of, say, the old masters or Bouguereau or whatever. But in terms of realism, Hopper is depicting ordinary everyday life as he saw it in the moment. That, albeit is thematically gussied up, right? That there's this odd sense of you're looking at a depiction of reality, but he's managed to sort of like penetrate the emotion of a scene that is very uncanny and is very hard. Only very few artists that have come after Edward Hopper were able to achieve that level of penetration into the ordinary that reveals something that is very lonely and is filled with yearning and longing, is sort of like what do the British people say? Quiet desperation. No, Abel Ferreira did not do. Abel Ferreira didn't do 8mm. I'm really going to be pissed off if I don't get this 8mm.
Just go look it up, man.
Nicolas Cage. Oh yeah, Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher. Yeah, who is famous for doing Sparkle. Did he do bad? Oh, he did Falling Down.
Didn't he do one of the Batman movies?
Yes, he did. Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, which I believe Hollywood God says he hated Batman Forever, if I recall. He did Lost Boys, and no, he did not do Bad Lieutenant. He did Phantom of the Opera. Oh, he did Tigerland. That was a strange film, Tigerland, the Vietnam War. But anyways, so moving on.
I think it's outside of the Batman movies. I think it's the only Joel Schumacher film I've seen.
You haven't seen 8mm?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, Prude, you must see 8mm. That is like one of my favorite films ever.
8mm.
Imagine if Michael Bay did 8mm. What a Javier, what a travesty. How dare you? That's like I can't.
Investigating the world of snuff films. Oh geez, this is gonna okay. I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Is literally
I'll go watch it.
Maybe because I paywalled it, but in a solo episode of Content Minded, I reviewed 8mm. Maybe I'll if you guys press 1 in the chat if you want me to unpaywall the 8mm review. Press 2 if you don't want me to do that. So press 1 if you want me to unpaywall the 8mm review. So, anyways, moving on. Mann and painting. Before we discuss the link between Mann and Hopper in more detail, it is useful to first consider Mann's relationship with the medium of painting. Painting has influenced his visual style for individual films. He conducted research into 19th century landscape painting and 18th century portraiture when creating the look of The Last of the Mohicans. Oh yeah, that's true. There is a lot of, now that you said it, I can actually see it in Last of the Mohicans. Mann was also incorporating paintings into his film at significant points. For example, in the Insider, Jeffrey Wigand, how do you say that? Wigand. Jeffrey Wigand. Yep, sits before a large painting of a lone rider horseback in his hotel room. The figure might be a messenger like Paul Revere, while a censored version of his story is broadcast on 60 Minutes. Afterwards, Wigand turns and stares at the painting. The image transforms into a vision of Wigand's children playing in a yard, as both character and audience becomes aware of his isolation and what he has lost by becoming a whistleblower. Earlier in Ali, we see the boxer's father painting a mural of Jesus as a white man. Later in the film, Ali encountered a mural of himself in the back streets of Kinshasa on his daily run as he prepares for the Foreman fight. It's a dramatic demonstration of both character and audience of Ali's importance as a cultural figure. The most famous man on the planet at the moment in Africa is an African American. Yeah, I think did they also recreate the famous Bellows painting of the boxers as well in that film? Yeah. So or that famous moment of, was it Ali, where like the guy goes beyond the ropes? I think that was Ali. Yeah. So oh, and here we have, this is not Edward Hopper, this is David Hockney, one of the most famous living artists ever. And I believe Mr. D is also a fan of these 60s paintings of David Hockney. Yes, and they're quite spectacular, though, I must say. The minimalism being brought to such a depth of field. The hotel paintings are spectacular. I love the hotel paintings. And I think, like, in a lot of very like cinema that I'm attracted to as well, they have this sort of thing with that 60s style of motel. And there's a lot of films I've watched, and I think David Hockney, he really managed to capture the vibe of the time. Because if you realize like how revolutionary this was in the 60s, like everyone was doing like abstraction, everyone was doing either pop art or abstraction, but the fact that he managed to have like real painting and pop art was like something that was incredible. Like, yeah, it's still pop art. Obviously, it's still pop art. But the way that he incorporated landscape painting again, he like sort of brought it back to life in the 60s and 70s up until the 80s. It's like, say what you want about David Hockney's later work, like his current work. But, this stuff was incredible. So, and oh yeah, so there you go. Like, look, he's directly like, and yeah, you could see this in Heat. So more broadly, a number of the Michael Mann critics have remarked upon the painterly quality of his visual style. Christopher Sherratt connected Mann's work to that of David Hockney, Eric Fischl, and Robert Longo. David Hockney and Ed Ruscha were both prolific photographers of Los Angeles who used their photographs as source material of their paintings. Mann, of course, is well known for his distinctive cinematic reimaginings of Los Angeles in Heat and Collateral. Hockney and Mann had a preference for clear, uncluttered compositions. They both employ block colors and a certain sterility in their representations of the contemporary typical linear houses. Ruscha was drawn to a, quote, diversity of formal compositions, architectural style, and geometric divisions. These traits are also evident in Mann's films. The similarities between Mann and Ruscha can be seen in shots in Heat, where Donna Breeden arrives at the minimum wage job at a diner. So here you can see the sort of, I think these were either lithographies or they were photos that were then later translated into lithography. But you can see even with Hockney, you can see the sort of quality that is could very easily be translated into printmaking, into silkscreen in particular. I mean, silkscreen was all the rage at this time because of Andy Warhol. So, and you can see like the very flat color tones and how the color blocks are mixed together by having these separate blocks of color rather than color mixing itself. Like you see, for example, with Impressionist painting, right? You have a totally like different flat, I wouldn't say flat design, but you would have like a pop art flatness that is very easily translated into printmaking. And even in film, you can replicate that same sort of flatness, but like a sort of like bold flatness, not like a flat designishness, but rather you can have like very bold color choices in cinema, which I find is a very good comparison. So, anything, Prude?
I'm glad that you had clarified the realism at the beginning with regards to Hopper, just because, and I mean, everyone who, even if you don't know the name, you all know the Nighthawks painting. You all know the diner one. Every Ed Hopper painting on Earth has been turned into a listen to the 50s beats while the rain plays in the background. Hopper, I like where the essay is going in terms of its thesis, because I think that you can quietly draw a very accurate comparison between the Solitude and Man's protagonists. Like if you what's the it's where he's looking out the window and his wife is reading a book. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. But it's not Morning Sun. It's
I know which one you're referring to. I don't.
Yeah. Like you can
yeah.
easily compare that to Manhunter in that regard, because what's his name? He's the guy from CSI, William Peterson. William Peterson has a lot of moments where he's like sort of internally looking out in that way, and there are shot for shot things that make me think of a Hopper painting. Also, I think Brian Cox does a good job as Hannibal Lecter that no one gives him credit for, but it's a good movie. I think you should watch it.
I haven't seen Manhunt. Oh my God, Grisham is in Manhunter.
Yeah, William Peterson, Grisham.
Whoa, there was that '90s film where he was like in the Cascade. Was it Cascadia, or like he had like this daughter. They lived in. He was like an architect. They lived in this like very like Seattle rich type of house. Oh, what film was that called? Fear? I think it was also. Yeah, I think it was also a murder mystery.
Wasn't it Fear that he was in?
Oh, Fear. Yeah, that was the one.
Mark
Fear.
Wahlberg being a total piece of shit.
Yeah, that one.
He was also in the 12 Angry Men remake. He was also in Thief, another Michael Mann movie.
I love the 12 Angry Men remake. I love that.
I have not seen that movie.
It's great. James Gandolfini's in it. And it was good. I liked it. It was.
And then, of course, he just lived out the rest of his days on CSI and retired.
Yeah. Review Pearls Before Swine. $100. I only watched it once. It was like, I mean, the acting was abysmal and terrible, but the premise of it was great. Like, it was like classic Boyd Rice Kino. And of course, Doug P. was also in it from Death in June.
I have not seen this movie.
It's incredible. You got it. You have to see it. Pearls Before Swine. It's incredible.
Richard Wollstonecraft, played by Julius Rubin.
Yeah.
Paul Decker, Anthony Hart. I don't know any of these names.
They're all musicians.
Okay, well, I guess maybe.
It was some millionaire in Australia that like basically shoved a bunch of money in Boyd Rice's face to make this film. And I think
this meant to be like a fashy film?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also believe that Douglas P. He lives in Australia now. I think because of this film. And I'm sure that's why the aesthetic transfer so quickly to several popular Japanese artists. Yes, there's one Japanese artist in particular, I forget his name, who was very heavily inspired by David Hockney. And his 80s paintings are incredible. It like truly is like, GTA Vice City tier. Like, it's incredible Kino. But anyways,
we like that. We like that.
Yeah, it's great. Mann has also been linked to abstract art. And Disness, following Mann, I can't pronounce that name. Following Mann's earlier cinematography, Dante Spinotti has associated Mann's visual style with that of Vasily Kandinsky. Kandinsky was around for his use of color symbolism and was an important theorist on the topic. I highly recommend reading Point and Line to Plane or The Metaphysical in Art. They are both great works of art theory. He contended that color had an emotive function, the earth color, that each color had its own values or ideological connotations. As Adrian Martin had argued, Mann's films employ color coding to enhance or reinforce the general feel or meaning of the subject matter. Manhunter is a key example of the strategy. Desnes observed that Spinotti referred to the look of Manhunter in terms of the, quote, the way the choices of color and light were based on emotions and desire. White, for example, had a narrative connotation of death, is the dominant color of one murder scene and also that of Hannibal Lecter's cell. However, it is also associated with plenitude. Dollar-hide slaughter of entire families facilitates his transformation into the Red Dragon, while Molly Graham wears white in her husband's Will's dream of domestic tranquility, which occurs while he is looking at a photograph of the crime victims. Thus, one of Manhunter's themes, the proximity of death and wish fulfillment, is expressed through the use of single color. Wow, that's great.
You really need to go see Manhunter.
Yeah. I remember that there was, this was like way before the YouTube video essay. This was like some kind of public, I think it was on TV Ontario, or it may have been on Discovery Channel. It was talking about the nature of lighting in film and how Hollywood has had like this sort of like visual gruel of like three different colors are like basically three different emotions. Like blue, like the blue filter is for like some melancholic scene or whatever. The red
Yes.
filter is always in war movies or like action scenes. The white filter is always for some kind of drama. Like, but now it's like Hollywood seems to be like totally grayed out, like millennial gray. Like if you look at Nosferatu or that atrocious Napoleon, that Napoleon film by who was it by? Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Like no color whatsoever. Like no, like I forget the story. I remember Mr. D was talking about how Stanley Kubrick, he could never make the Napoleon film, so he ended up making Barry Lyndon instead. Like I forget the whole story of why he couldn't make Napoleon, but he was.
I don't know it intimately enough to relay it accurately. I do know that he wanted to, but I mean, Barry Lyndon is probably one of the most colorful Hollywood films that comes to my mind, at least evocatively in terms of color and being a period piece. But it is it's wild to think about, especially considering that it seems to be I think it has a lot to do with the fact that everything's digital. I really think that has a lot to do with it, just because on film, the color has to be right. Like, for instance, I know we a couple of weeks ago, they announced that they're remaking Amadeus.
Yeah.
And I don't think Amadeus needs to be remade. Amadeus is a perfect film. You don't need to remake it. I think Paul Bettany will do just fine as Salieri. I'm not going to lie. But you do not need to remake that movie. And also, the original is done on film. And it's natural lighting. And it is amazing in every way and respect. It does not need to be remade. Why? Because you're going to do it on digital. You're not going to do it on film. You're not going to be able to capture what came before. And I wholeheartedly expect that's going to be something that you can tell right off the bat. This will not have the color or the saturation or the lived-in feel of that world. And so be it. But that is the consequence, I think, of a lot of our sort of digital age and doing this kind of film work. And it's not emotive. Like, I think everything now is so over the top when it writes emotion. So many things are predicated on, like, if I do not say what my intentions are as a character, you are not going to understand.
And I have to yell them out, like out of driver's seat. I have to yell and scream. That's
I got to be a backseat driver to my own story and tell you how I feel. And it's just like, no, you don't actually.
That's what Stunwound said, Core. He said like every serious acting in Hollywood now means just yelling. That's what it is. It's just yelling,
which is really frustrating.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen like a subversion of that like really penetrating white was, of course, like Midsummer, like Ari Aster, right?
Yeah.
But that's like for a reason, because like the horror is in daylight.
Also,
like, apocalypse,
Marriage Story does color pretty damn well, or at least set design, because Alan Alda's like law office is like the perfect example of that. Where it's just like everyone has been in an office that looks like Alan Alda's character's law office in Marriage Story. You don't want to admit it, but it's true.
Yeah,
you've been in one of those offices,
right?
And it's one of the. That's also one of the few movies where like the screaming acting is actually makes sense. Yeah, it's a fucking divorce.
Yeah. No, but we'll see with Edward Hopper, like when he painted offices. Like the only artist that would come close to it would be John Register. In my WordPress, I actually wrote a review when I used to do Modern Art Madness. I should bring that back, man.
You should.
Like, that's what I was really known for. It's funny because Sam Batch and Cap were streaming last night, and like, Gio, why don't you just talk over painting videos? It's like I had that idea, okay. I had this thing called Painting Discourse. I only did like 3 or 2 episodes of it like years ago, like 4 years ago. And I'm like, why can't I just do that? Like, all you people, you need something to look at while the truth nukes, while the theory selling is like hitting your unconscious lobes, your mind, your unconscious mind. So maybe I should just do that. I should just invest in buying a camera, a good one, not like a crappy, what I was doing, which was like a crappy, GoPro knockoff. It's like I should just invest in a good camera and do that. Maybe then you people would listen to me, but or the YouTube algorithm will look at me favorably. Your unconscious mind, but I was gonna say hitting your brain lobes, but no. But anyway, so yeah, like people talk about like Wes Anderson's color sense and so on and so forth, but it does seem like Hollywood has a very like stultified style, and it needs like a truly visionary auteur to like break out of that mold.
It's lost its soul in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like even you have like the neon thing. Like a good example would be what was that Ryan Gosling film?
Blade Runner 2049.
No, not that one. The one before, Only God Forgives.
I'm now trying to remember that one off the top of my head.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good example.
Hold on, I'm not looking up Ryan Gosling.
That was like a visual painting film, but no. Anyways, they wrote this review of a John Register painting where I believe it was of a chair in an office, and it did remind me a lot, even of like, for example, there was that one scene which I think was done very well in the Walter Kern film adaptation of Up in the Air, where George Clooney's character looks over and he sees like the rows and rows of chairs in an empty office of all the people that he had to fire. Yeah, and I think that was a great scene. George Looney, to quote Mark Levin. I remember when Levin would call him George Looney. That was funny. Although, what's funny? The greatest piece of humor that Mark Levin has ever produced was not when he was trolling callers on his show way back in the 2000s. It was his recent crash outs on Twitter. That was actually pretty funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Lost River. That's
what he said about John Davis fucking killed me on Twitter. I was just like, I have no word. I'm not talking about Mark Levin here. Back to
no.
I don't want to do that.
Famously radicalized Nick Fuentes.
Mark Levin.
Mark Levin radicalized me, man. Like I remember listening to him. I loved like those compilations on early YouTube where he would be like trolling callers, like some like some lib would call him. It was funny. I gotta admit that was funny. Mark Levin did have humor. I gotta admit at one point, but his humor is gone.
One point, Mark Levin was funny.
Yeah, but now he's only unintentionally funny, I think. So,
and he doesn't even know why.
But anyways, where were we? Did you watch Red Dragon?
The one with Edward Norton, yeah.
In Ralph Fiennes?
Yeah.
That was a great film.
I have read the book that inspired all this, or I know it's a series of books, but the author kind of jumps the fucking shark. But I quite like the world of Hannibal Lecter, and Hannibal Lecter is served best on film, at least, when he is not the main character. Whereas the Mads Mikkelsen Hannibal TV show is so fucking good. Maybe that's a Cole opinion these days. I don't know. I watched it recently. I rewatched it, and I found it to be better than Hopkins's interpretation. And I know that the showrunner wanted to do. He didn't get the rights to do Silence of the Lambs. That's why he had that like FBI agent character in there, who had lost her arm, and she was just the novice, sort of trainee.
Was she the stand-in for Sigourney Weaver's character?
She was the stand-in for Jodie Foster's character. Yeah.
Sorry, Jodie Foster, not Sigourney Weaver. Jodie Foster.
No, Sigourney Weaver. Because it's like right after Silence of the Lambs, there's a Sigourney Weaver movie that's like a copycat of Silence of the Lambs. I think it's literally called Copycat. I remember watching it, and I was like, oh my, because I had never seen it before, and I was like, oh my god, this is like Silence of the Lambs. And my girlfriend was like, yeah, it came out at the same time. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Because that's what Hollywood does, is they'll make copies of, like movies.
There was a time in like the 2000s where you'd have like for example, like a popular horror film, and then you'd have someone that would do like a part 2 that was like not the original.
Oh yeah.
Like for example, there was the famous well, some people didn't like it. I loved it when I was a kid. The famous John Carpenter film Vampires with what's his name? Woods. Not Tom Woods.
James Woods.
I
like that movie.
I love Vampires. It's like incredible.
I think it's a great film.
But there were 2 other ones that were made by other directors that had no license of John Carpenter's production company. There was Vampires 2 Se Muerta, which had I thought he was actually a pretty good actor. What's his name? The pop rock, not pop rock, but like not Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams is Canadian. What's his name? That's the rock singer. You know that song "Wanted Dead or Alive"?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know
what's his name?
Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi, yeah, Bon Jovi. Yeah. Bon Jovi played a vampire hunter. And it was actually pretty good.
Mark?
Yeah, no, he was good. He was a good actor. Like, I actually enjoyed it. And then there was a third one made in like the mid 2000s, which was in Japan. It was it was in Thailand. It was hunting vampires.
Based.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So Shirley Lee, Laura Palmer. What has Shirley Lee done recently? Cheryl Lee.
I don't think Cheryl Lee's done anything.
She just did Laura Palmer?
Well, I don't know what her career was after Twin Peaks. I mean, she came back for Twin Peaks: The Return.
Right.
But I don't know what or if anything else she did. She was in 1 or 2 movies and I think some TV work, but I think she did kind of quietly quit acting for a while.
Yeah. I think she did, yeah. Thought she was in Vampires.
Maybe
was she in Vampires? Yeah.
Maybe.
Cheryl Lee.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, she was the chick. She was the lady of the night that got bit by a Valak.
There you go.
Yeah, so she was the one that they had to use to like. But then Daniel Baldwin's not Daniel Bald. Is it Daniel Baldwin? Yeah, I forget. I get mixed up. Who was the Gamergate one? Was it not? Which Baldwin was the Gamergate one?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, but
he's the one who didn't kill a guy on a Western film set.
Yeah. Daniel Baldwin, he like falls for her, and then he gets bitten by her. And Montoya was his character's name.
Many such cases.
Vampires is also on Tubi, so
if it's not on Tubi, it doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. But
speaking of which, most of Michael Mann's early work can be seen on Tubi.
Is Manhunters on Tubi?
Yes.
Oh my god! I have to see it then.
You can go watch. You can go watch it now.
I don't have to bug Sean Weiland to download.
Gio is the only millennial I know who doesn't know how to torrent things off the internet.
Well, I don't want to pay for a VPN. Maybe I should. I should pay for a VPN.
It kills me. It truly kills
my old man had a VPN. But anyways, so and here we have a comparison of heat. I promise we'll talk more about painting. I know we're talking about film, but so here is a comparison of heat in the Alex Colville painting, the famous one where people thought it was about sunsetting or it could just be something different. But it's very funny. Alex Colville, he is a very famous Canadian artist that the internet, at the height of pop art, he was doing these things in the 50s and 60s that were oddly reminiscent of early digital art. But he was doing this in oil painting. And he's become super popular recently in the internet age, even though at the time, like if you were Canadian like me, like I remember looking at an Alex Colville painting in like a textbook when I was a kid in school. But like if you weren't a Canadian or whatever, you know, he wasn't that popular. But now on the internet, he's become super popular, Alex Colville, because a lot of his paintings do remind you of early internet animation, or at least those animated renders, right? Like if you go to that one account on Twitter, early 3D renders.
Yeah.
I think it's called. Yeah. I know that guy's like a lib, but whatever. It's a great account. It's truly a great account. Like the early 2000s to mid 90s.
There are like, name one gimmick account that isn't insane.
Every Sopranos scene.
Yeah, well, he's based.
yeah.
I can't even call that a gimmick account. He's just based.
Yeah. I love it when he goes after the other Sopranos clippers. It's hilarious. Like he destroyed that every Saul clip, every Better Call Saul clip. He like destroyed that guy.
Well, I just think it's funny that every gimmick account on Twitter is just under the expectation of like, oh wow, like you're not an insane person. That's problematic. What do you mean? This is my life. And he's like, my country is overrun with like Indians and Pakistanis. Like, uh-oh, that's a problematic take. Tony Soprano wouldn't like that.
That really is the legacy of David Chase. It's socialist Sopranos versus every Sopranos scene on the TL. That's like
uh-oh, stinky. You know, it's just like
Soyledial versus Base Zoomer. Like that's
this is the thing too, like that's a whole other can of worms you can open, but like there is something very damning that will come as millennials get older, because I really do think that they'll be hated as much as will be hated as much as boomers by younger whites. I really do. That may be my controversial take, but I really do think that might be.
It's already there.
Yeah. It's already there. You're right. I think it's coming, and it's going to stay for a while. Because all they have to do is look at the worst examples.
Yeah, we kind of deserve it. Let's be real.
Because, like, I mean, again, there are great boomers in the same way that there are great millennials that got their shit together and did right things.
I mean, if you're listening to our show right now, we're two great millennials.
Absolutely. God, I hope so. You know, I could totally be wrong, and I could be like, oh, I was so wrong. Plug me back in.
No, early 3D renders are footage of Ario. Please,
no, put me back in. I was a niche internet microwave celebrity. I don't know. Was
that Holly Moon or that was John Winthrop that tweeted that?
I don't know. I don't even know if that is a tweet of theirs. I think it was just the Keanu Reeves coming out of the Matrix. I saw it on Telegram once.
Oh, it may have been Stain Haynes that tweeted that.
It's just like, no, put me back in.
I used to be a niche micro internet celebrity.
I used to be cool online. Now my life looks like an Edward Hopper painting, but not in the cool way.
Not in the cool, depressing, chic way. It's like the terrible Clownvidian way. Which actually, you know, as much as
my life is a chick track, but it's brown. Save me. I don't know. There was Jack Chick has been on my timeline for the last couple of like weeks. And while I am not a like sort of
evangelical,
I'm not an evangelical, although most of my family is. I look at Jack Chick and I look at those chick tracks and I'm like, man, he's right about most things.
He truly was a visionary outsider.
He was a visionary of our time.
Yeah.
My ancestor, and I'm like, so true.
Yeah, he really was a visionary outsider artist. He's like, to me, he's like on par with like Henry Darger.
I have nothing artist. In this house. I respect Jack Chick. It's that straightforward.
He really chick tracks. But anyways, no, I think millennial hate is a lot of it's well deserved, but a lot of it isn't our fault either. Like I just remember that Nobody TM edit where it's like the children playing in a field and it's like the Technicolor under like a Technicolor landscape, and that one track kept playing over and over again. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Which I think is where Sam Hyde got it from.
The bit from Good Will Hunting?
I believe that was the source material for that Nobody TM edit, was that track of like, it's not your fault, it's not your fault. But anyways, so millennial hatred, but so like, we mentioned The Sopranos a lot tonight. I've
been rewatching The Sopranos. I'm on season 1.
Nice.
Because I was like, oh, like you haven't seen The Sopranos. It sounds like I'm going to correct that problem.
Yeah, it's great. Although I don't know, my mind has been kind of warped though, because for the past few years I've watched The Sopranos as a clip show on YouTube. Like I'll get like into a Sopranos binge where like it's like totally clips. Yeah, like it's totally like ripped out of context or seasonal context. It's just like the clips, you know.
Yeah.
Which is, for example, I noticed that like the only time I've ever enjoyed anything from Family Guy was when it's just a clip on YouTube. It has
I
to be a
think
clip.
Seth MacFarlane was ahead of his time wanting to make a clip show.
Was Robot Chicken?
No,
Yeah.
that's Green.
Oh yeah. Green? What's his name? Something Seth Green. Yeah.
Yeah, Seth Green.
Oh my god, I thought Seth MacFarlane did Robot Chicken.
No, Seth MacFarlane famously made fun of Robot Chicken on Family Guy because Seth Green's the voice of his son.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's the voice of what's his name? Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he was.
Oh my god. Anyways, within it was somebody who
you can see the early onset Alzheimer's kick in real time, chat, because we can't remember shit.
Oh my god. Within it was that somebody who was involved in some life of aggression and action, and yet there was a contrast with the mental state because here was a moment of inner loneliness, and it didn't dictate something, instead it posed a question. It didn't inform with a statement, it posed a question that it was man thinking. What is its imaging? What is he imagining? And it said something about his circumstances and his condition was a condition of loneliness. Neil Macaulay is a key example of man's thematic interest in the aging white male in contemporary society, or what Thorat has identified as the aquarium syndrome. Moreover, this scene has been iconic. A still from what was used as the cover of FX, Feeney's book on Man, a project that benefited from interviews with Mann and access to his personal archives. And here we have, of course, the famous Nighthawks, which is, I think it is a monumental work, although I wouldn't say it's my favorite Edward Hopper work. I think that Nighthawks has become a victim of like the poster print economy, and to me, I think people that like the average normie that their only exposure to Edward Hopper's Nighthawks would easily confuse him as doing like a Norman Rockwell type of thing. But as I argued in my famous essay years and years ago, back in 2017 in Thermidor magazine, that you can find on my WordPress archive, Edward Hopper is like the anti-Norman Rockwell. He is like everything that Norman Rockwell is not. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what really attracted me to a lot of Edward Hopper's works. And I think like Nighthawks, to me, is like this weird thing where it's very popular and people can often confuse it as doing something that Norman Rockwell was doing, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, in Norman Rockwell,
you would not be the first person to bring this up. I know someone who's confused Hopper for Rockwell.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, what Hopper's doing is like, in Norman Rockwell's work, nobody's lonely, nobody is without purpose. Everything is happy, everything is saccharine, everything is like, the only conflict that's there is his more overtly political works, right? Like the burden we all share, or his like, you know, 60s like civil rights era paintings, illustrations. Like with Edward Hopper, you don't get the same, you don't have that salience when it comes to like depicting a very like kitsch illustration of everyday American life, because he's depicting the real reality of everyday. I know it's like the meme of like he's depicting a truc of American life, but that's what Hopper's doing. But he's doing it in such like an unconscious level that even he like eschews this interpretation. There was this famous, or rather infamous, incident where an art critic got a hold of Edward Hopper's phone number, and there was this art critic was trying to ask him questions, and Edward Hopper, he clanks the phone. I think it was a phone interview. He clanks the phone. He goes, "God damn it!" He goes to his wife, "God damn it, they did it again. Why do they keep doing it?" In other words, he hated like the interpretations of his own work. Like he hated that. He absolutely detested that. But I think like even though he like eschewed overt interpretations, because to him, he was just depicting what he saw. He depicted the reality of what was in front of him, right? But I do think that, like, there still is a very deep spiritual commentary on what modern life was like. And I think if Edward Hopper, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but if Edward Hopper were alive today, I mean, imagine what he would depict, right? Like, there was, as much as I detest The Guardian, there was actually this one art critic. It was what's his name? Jonathan Jones. He's an in-house art critic for The Guardian. He's actually pretty good, even though, like everybody in The Guardian, whatever. He had this piece I remember a few years ago. It was during the Covidian era, where he rightfully compared Edward Hopper's paintings as having this new relevance in this new social order. Because, like, what is Edward Hopper depicting? He's, like, essentially depicting social distancing, right? And so there is this, like, thing, this very, like, deep penetrating insight that Edward Hopper has when it comes to the modern condition. That depicting, like, ennui and this sort of restlessness and this quiet desperation, to where, like, even the guy in the office, he can't really propose to his secretary, who's, like, very well put together in her busty dress, and she's begging for his attention, but he just can't bring himself to even look in her direction. Like, that really, there's something there, right? And I think, like, when it comes to this Colville painting, people have said, like, is it a man that's, gonna sunset or whatever? But really, it does depict, like, an outlaw who is at its wit's end, who has this moment of reflection. And what's central to his life is this instrument of violence. In the same way you have this still from Heat, where, like, Robert De Niro, was it Robert De Niro or was it Al Pacino in this?
It's De Niro.
Yeah, it's De Niro. Like, he's coming to terms with what he is. He's an old dog that's trying to fight. He
is an old dog in a young man's game.
Exactly.
He realizes his time is up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like in this Colville painting, the old outlaw who's at its wit's end.
Because there's a great scene where I think he's at the girl's apartment that he met, because he originally didn't want to give her any time, and then they talk and they spend the night together, but he's looking out her window.
Yeah,
and he kind of just realizes, like, this is what he missed out on. The code he's lived by has been just like that painting, where it is the outlaw who realizes that, like, my very piece of advice I have given to every man who has served on my crew, functionally has lived a better, like Val Kilmer with his girl, lived and has lived a better life than him.
Yeah,
on the basic premise that, like, he got all the things I didn't, which was a woman and a kid and a life. And you see that. He well, he doesn't die. He runs off.
Yeah.
He does get shot during the major shootout scene, but no, he doesn't die.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But no, that's, yeah. So I think there's, like, a very important lesson there. Like, it just, but it is a very, like, I think, like, we were talking about this many episodes ago about like, I think it was the Ryan Gosling one. Like,
so episode 5?
Episode 5, yeah. Like, why the literally me character is so compelling. Like, why is there that reality? And a lot of it is because, like, a lot of, younger men feel this supreme alienation and frustration with the world around them. But also, I think it's, like, the literally me film character is the only way in which you can live out your fantasy. Like, I was talking about this with Parker Longbow before we were talking about found footage. We were talking about pulp literature and how, like, there really is no outlet for a more fantastical depiction of what the purpose of a man really is, right? And so the literally me film is, like, the only way in which you can be an outlaw, as a sort of, like, weird cultural subterfuge for those feelings. Like, I mean, you don't really want to go to war anymore. I mean, unless it's some kind of, like, overt, like, gladio nationalist psyop that isn't going to serve the interests of your
looking at you
anyways.
Top Gun 2.
Yeah, like, that isn't going to serve the interests of your people anyways. Or you could just, like, not even like video games are like that anymore. Like it just seems that like the cultural mode of like say the mid 90s to early 2000s where like chud culture served as this weird form of passivity. Like as it's like people talk about this. Remember they were talking about like Gamergate before a few weeks ago. Like why do they have to do this? Just let us have our video games and we'll be fine. Why do we have to
Yeah,
do
we
this?
covered this with Billionaire Psycho's piece.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, but like what if they did let us just have our video games? And the political realities that were still very apparent during the 2000s and the 2010s, they just were to continue without being thwarted or even like minorly inconvenienced, because you did have like the chud culture of the early 2000s, whether it be video games or like literally me films being pumped out.
Well, I think it would have happened in a different way. Like it would have been it would have been far like the dirtbag left would have still been a thing, because the dirtbag left is a millennial product of like the vulgarity wave of TV.
Yeah, and Jon Stewart and
like that would have not disappeared.
No, exactly. It would have taken on a different.
But the right wing response would maybe have never happened.
Right,
at least as we know it. It has to be because that is the one space that is distinctly engendered to be right wing.
Yeah. So
because it was the one place you could get away with fucking anything, really.
Exactly. And so you could live out your lurid fantasies. And also you could I think also like a lot of video games provide a context of like, say if you're like a more like nerdy person that wants a sort of structure, you can play games like EVE Online or like, a strategy game or whatever.
Yeah.
So but then if like that becomes a supreme inconvenience, then I wonder like the cultural, like, I mean, the culture industry and like transnational progressivism as a whole, like really did kind of screw up with video games. Like, I think like if they were to just let the chuds have their treats, like they wouldn't be experiencing like nearly as much grief as they have for the past 10 years. Like it really was a blunder to go after video games. Like it would have kept so many like young men in line. You know what I mean? Like it would have been like, yeah, it's incredible. It's like such a blunder. But well, I mean, I guess if you're drunk over your sense of own omnipotence, then you're going to make all sorts of blunders like that. But anyways, moving back to Hopper. It is now time to turn to one of Colville's formative influences, Edward Hopper. Several commentators on Hopper have argued that his work had a cinematic quality. His visual style had influenced directors such as Chantal Ackerman, Todd Haynes, Alfred Hitchcock, and Wim Wenders. Sheila Wagstaff claimed that Hopper is, quote, a compulsive director who used the language of film to hone the structures of his scenes to the bare essentials at the same time as packing the emotional intensity tighter as a dramatic agency. So in Hopper's work, notice how he is one of the first artists to really contend with cinema directly. There are multiple paintings where he's depicting people watching films in a cinema alone. He's depicting the very lonely cinema worker woman on the side of the theater. He's looking into these very like gray blobs that you would see like watching films, staring into an empty screen abyss. Like he really is like one of the first film painters. And I think he saw that, and again, this is very incredibly predictive of Hopper. Kind of like what we were talking about with video games. I know I'm bashing video games. I'm sorry, chat. But I'm sorry. I'm not a gamer.
It's not Gio's medium.
It's not my medium. Film is much more my medium. But anyways, no, but like it's sort of like films. He really predicted how modern cinema in his time, the novelty of cinema was a function of cultural passivity and was a means by which the entrenching of this sort of secret yearning and this quiet desperation and this modern alienation can further be realized in the individual subject. Because when you're going to a movie theater, of course, this is before, this was still relatively recent, and it was before the small screen where everyone had access to television. Like, you know, you're peering into that theater when the curtain, when the lights go down, it's like you become this like weird collective hive watching the same thing. And, you know, some people may be laughing, or they may be jerking their chair or doing other things in the theater. But when it comes to the viewing of a medium on a collective level, you do sort of like submerge into this other thing. It's like this veil of darkness comes over you, and you're like this one entity and enjoying a piece of media. And I think like Hopper, he wanted to depict the very strange, de-individualizing reality of that. And in his paintings, he does it very well. And so he was like way ahead of his curve when it comes to that, you know. And imagine television. Now it's like you don't even have to go outside. You know, you can have in your own home. Now you can have in your phone, anywhere. You know, you could like goon to content 24/7. You know, you could watch media anywhere.
You don't have a moment of quiet anymore. I've noticed
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
One of the more popular memes I've seen is people getting upset when they forget their phone to like listen to something, or they forgot their headphones so they can't listen to something while they eat lunch at work or whatever. Like there's no moment of quiet. You can't be passive. There's no room for that.
Well, I'm the same. Like I get antsy without watching something when I'm eating or whatever. I know I should admit that, but like I'm a total.
Well, it's the same thing with like our friend Apostolic Majesty, who had complained one time that there is this his lectures are very popular with the quote unquote sleep community, where and you notice this too, like with like long form YouTubers, where there's like, oh man, I can't wait to listen to this while I'm falling asleep, and you know, find out where I fell asleep, you know, or whatever. Even you know, like Patrician TV has famously said, like, hey, just like put a comment or put a timestamp in the comments so you don't forget where you are, because one, YouTube is bad, and two, you know, it drives up engagement, which I'm like, oh, that's clever, you know. But
I've been told that people,
when I was on dialysis, I would do that. I would put something on to fall asleep too, just because like I'm connected to a fucking machine. Might as well listen to something and pass out.
Yeah, my girlfriend does that, a podcast. No, but like I famously have been told that people cannot listen to me while they sleep, because like my vocal patterns are too irregular. Like I'll be excited, or I'll be like rambling, or I'll be like, you know.
Shout out to the one guy that listens to DA while trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
What a fucking giga Chad.
That seems impossible. Like
I probably put that poor bastard to sleep, and I'm sorry, not sorry.
Oh man. No, but I've been told like my voice just inherently, like I'll get excited and I'll go up and down. Like I don't have a consistent vocal pattern. I try. Like I guess I should try to do more like ASMR-y, like calmer, like you know, I shouldn't have my power voice. But
I think you're just telling us that you've never done video essays, and that's fine.
Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, I could try. No, but I figure like if I'm going to write something down, might as well just release an article. Like, you know, like I can write bullet points and I can ramble and I could like, you know, I could do a lecture. But when it comes to like a video essay, like it's just, to me, like, I don't know, I can't like just read a script. Like I need like, you know, the bullet points, but you elaborate on them, and you could see where it takes you in like strange directions. And it's like, yeah, like it's just
what blew my mind is when I found out Dave Green does not do scripts for video essays.
Really?
No.
Oh my god.
Because I when I met him for the first time, I was like, so how do you do it? Because like he's got some 45-minute long freaking essays, you know? Yeah. And he's like, oh, I just take notes, I ramble, and then I edit it all together. And I'm like, I hate you. Like you make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more shorter form content.
That's the other thing, is the fucking algorithm these days really.
Apparently it's coming back.
Yeah, the short form stuff?
Yeah, like 10 to 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah.
I don't know, because like right now everything seems to be so clip show oriented. I don't know what to make. Because it's like to a point where you and I have jokingly tried to like tell someone to do a clips thing. Because it's just like at a certain point, it's just like that seems to be the only way, and I mean it's cross-platform views, and in a lot of ways, I think Kat was like, she had tweeted something out today that was like very much talking about that very issue, where it's just like, no, there's clearly a position, or what's like, if you're not clipping and you're not on multiple platforms, then like what the hell are you doing anymore? Which is kind of unfortunately true.
I should clip it and I should just like post them to both like Twitter and YouTube.
I'm half tempted to start to make a to just start clipping DA bits and do you even read stuff, or when I'm on guest on other platforms. I'm just gonna have to start doing shit that I didn't want to do.
That's what Coach Kino told me. He goes, you have like your long form podcast, but then like on the off days you release clips of them. And I go, I was gonna do that, but then I guess like, you have other stuff to do. Because when you're also an artist, it's like, it's like I'm invested in a lot of like this huge series right now, and it's like, it's hard, man. I like going out doing plein air, like that takes up a lot of your time, and so it's like
I like your paintings.
Yeah, so like it's I think like if I find a way, if people like jive with actually like me rambling over painting videos, I think like that could open up a whole new content avenue. But anyways, let's go back to the essay. That's enough inside baseball that nobody.
That's enough bitching.
It's sort of like what Billy Corgan said once on Joe Rogan. He goes, the temptation of every musician is to write a song about touring and how much it sucks. But he goes, that's so insular because nobody can relate to that. Why would your audience want to listen to you ramble about how, like, it's like, why would they want to listen to a song
to go
about
on tour?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so like myopic, and so it's like, But anyways, where was I? Our engagement subject is work frequently involved the process of narrativization. We speculate about the circumstances of his characters. We situate them within our lives. So, this is one of the few Hopper works where the characters in the scene are actually looking at each other that he's painting. Sun and Empty Room, that's actually one of my favorite Hoppers. It really is. Like because my essay, I compared Edward Hopper to urban exploration. And in that essay, I also talked about how he's the anti-Rockwell. Because you have to realize, like, Norman Rockwell's, his approach to lighting is also what really made him, right? Like, kind of like Leyendecker, or like other great, like the golden age of American illustration. But Hopper, he takes that lighting and he makes it very like dour and desperate. And it's not like the sort of like Norman Rockwell, like everything's filled with light and everything's amazing. And it's like everything is very poppy and punchy and sweet. And it's like, it's hoaxy. Like Hopper's the opposite. Like his use of very harsh lighting is to invoke that sense of desperation. It's like you could look at a million urban exploration videos and you would see this exact same scene inevitably, right? I mean, it's during the day, but I remember a lot of like Urbex people used to go at night to do like a different vibe. But it seems like the sunlight in Hopper's paintings, like this one, or like the famous one. I believe Facebook back in the day, he like edited. What's his name? Zuckerberg in this Edward Hopper painting. It was the one. It was the sun gazers. You know that one?
Yeah.
Where they're looking into the sun. Yeah. Like it seems like lighting to Hopper there is like this sense of like forlornness. Like you don't get like a sense of like you don't get the sense of like happiness or lifelikeness. You don't get that sense. You get something of like the light is exposing you in a way. Like it's not like a sort of like silver lining to things. It's more of like it's exposing you to the open air. And it's like very jarring. And it's almost like you're trying to hide from it, right? So Hopper and Mann share a pessimistic sensibility that might be called melancholic. Hopper's work is renowned for its portrayal of the loneliness of urban lives. Automat, 1927, for example, depicts a young woman sitting alone in a cafe where even interactions with staff are unnecessary. Exactly. Don't you want, like, chat, do you not want to save her? Come on. Press 1 if you want to save her. But anyways, so
holy shit.
Sunlight in a cafeteria. In Nighthawks, the diner functions as an urban oasis for its characters. Characters in paintings often appear disconnected from each other, such as in Sunlight in a cafeteria. In Hopper's work, communication always seems to be difficult and at times impossible.
Dems won all 3 elections.
Really?
Yeah, Mandani won, Mickey Sherrill won, and Spanberger won, all by really hefty margins.
Well, speaking of loneliness and isolation.
There you go.
Oh my God. I'm just going to, I know like this essay is 10 times more important than anything political slop, but like, let me look at Twitter. Oh, of course, New Night Owls has already started. So, that's of
course they were. They're the ones that cover current events. It's their job.
Yeah.
And I think both of them are, well, one of them's a New Yorker. I don't know what about.
They're both New Yorkers.
They're both New Yorkers. Well, then, they got to cover it.
Yeah. Let me go to Scott Greer's Twitter. Oh,
give us a take, God. Mr. Greer. Give us a take.
You have no idea what's coming. Oh
we don't. Although it was really Ben Rhodes, who was, I want to say, Obama's, what was his job? He was also related to one of the.
He was in the Obama administration before he did Pod Save America.
He was a writer and former deputy national security advisor to the United States. Ben Rhodes openly had said Mamdani is the future of America after Trump. Like, I mean, I hate to sound like a bigot, but sometimes they just go out and say things, you know.
Well, Scott Greer is correct that Jay Jones only won because of the shutdown. They overlooked all of the text messages where he wished death upon the children of his opponent, and I can't believe Jay Jones won. That's like that's even worse than Mamdani in some ways. Like, that's like,
the endorsement of political murder.
Yeah. Like, that's just, you know,
I'm not like surprised either. I mean, I don't know how much of an impact. I guess I underestimated how much of an impact the shutdown would have, but at the same time, I guess not. You know.
Yeah.
It's not something I would have thought had that big of an impact, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
I
knew Mamdani is gonna win. Like,
well, yeah, there was no way he wasn't.
Yeah, Chris Cuomo. Come on, man.
Even though they hit him with a lot of apparently there were quite a few scandals that had come under with regards to like foreign money and things like that, but that doesn't matter. Like, this is the thing. It's the same thing with like what you've gone through with Canada too. Like, it can be an open secret that the foreign money is there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. In a globalized world, it doesn't really matter.
In a globalized world, A, it doesn't matter, but also B, even when it should matter, and it does matter, it doesn't matter to your hardcore supporters, which are all not born in this country.
No, but you know what's funny, though? To rein it back into the essay, I think Edward Hopper's work has achieved a renaissance in the internet age, like a second renaissance, because when we saw this during Clownvid, like, the only way you can really relate to an experience in a globalized world, in a world of telecommunication and instant connectivity, where there's like a supreme leveling of all cultures, the only way you could really approach things is from a very isolated and individual level. And even though like America was so fundamentally different in Edward Hopper's time, you know, in the previous century than it is now, you still get that sense of like, he almost saw what was coming. I think that's why people have this odd compulsion towards Edward Hopper. He almost saw what was coming, right? Like, he saw the urban isolation. He saw people distancing from one another. He saw like the sort of, there was a lot of great paintings where I love his plein air work, obviously. But there's a lot of paintings where, for example, the gas station attendant, where man is on the border of nature. But because he's a gas station attendant, he cannot just go into the woods, not even on his break. Like, what meaningful break is there, really, if you're like a lonely gas station attendant on the edge of some town on Route 66? So it's like you
That's a very relatable feeling for me, because if I want to enjoy a break, I have to drive and go somewhere, and I'm trapped in this large industrial park, and it's just like, what am I doing?
Did you watch Up in the Air?
I have. I've seen Up in the Air.
Yeah, like, no, but you can relate to that, right?
I can, yeah. No,
yeah.
I've had that thought, because it's just like I'm surrounded by industrial equipment in manufacturing, like, which is interesting because like I live in a time where like that's not really a thing,
right?
Manufacturing, but like I work with a manufacturer, which I'm quite happy with. But at the same time, it's kind of strange in retrospect because no one else. I can't really relate to this. Most of the time I'm eating lunch. I mean, like, I'm a finance guy, but like I'm eating lunch with all the guys who work inside the factory, and we're all just talking about the fact that like we're in this like shitty room. The air sucks, but like we all got bills. We all got shit to do, and it's just like where I'm stuck here.
Do you have that
and we're all looking out the window. Yeah, there's air conditioning. Everything's fine, but like
no. But do you have that vending machine that's got the like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches?
No, thank God.
Oh, I remember when me and
although we're like 2 minutes away from like a gas station that sells shit like that. That's the other thing too, is like all gas stations. Everyone's trying to do the same thing. Everyone's either trying to be 7-Eleven, or really they're all trying to be Quick Trip and Buc-ee's and everything like that.
Sheets
or Loves,
I kind of like 7-Eleven. You get everything there. You know it's funny. I remember I could write a whole essay on this. There was this Steve 1989 video where it was I believe an American MRE from the Iraq War, and he said in the beginning, he's like, oh man, this is like going to your local gas station. And I'm thinking, like, the American War Machine, I could read a whole essay on this, right? Like on Substack. I could read a whole stack where it's like the American War Machine, to boost morale, is essentially crafting an MRE to give to troops that replicates the experience of going to a gas station after your shift late at night and buying like jerky, like some kind of like weird gelatinous chicken in a sandwich, like in a tortilla, and like your purple drink juice with electrolytes, kind of like that in Idiocracy.
Except add like 3,000 more calories.
Exactly, yeah, that's the Emery. Add 3,000 more calories to the beef jerky and to the chicken and into the electrolyte drink that is essentially essential for what plants crave, to quote Idiocracy. Yeah. It's like that's the like global American empire, is to craft like the war machine is fueled on 7-Eleven and Buc-ee's. Like that.
I mean, I know that a lot of things have probably changed. I mean, I don't think the MRE really has, but like it does. No, it speaks to the American logistical experience that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I'm going to have shitty McDonald's at in Kandahar.
In
Bagram Airfield, I can have ice cream courtesy of Burger King in like 72 hours.
Holy shit!
Like, that is the American war machine, and I know, like, you can say all whatever you want about like the United States military, but logistically speaking, there is an unmatched logistical capability of your being able to tell me I can get like a fucking Tony's Pizza and a Burger King and a shitty like chow mein and like ice cream, and within a week's time of being deployed to the most inhospitable part on earth. Like I'm not as America fuck yeah as I used to be, but there is something innately fucking based about that.
Quantum mechanics, Max Planck's equations, everything of industrial society goes into this moment.
Of burger
cycle. Yeah, the Burger King cycle. Yeah. Oh my god. They even have the cardstock crowns inflation. I say, make the crown printers go burr. Thank you, Volpez. No, it's funny. I wonder if the Bagram Air-based Burger King has they must have the crowns, right?
I'm sure they did.
Oh yeah.
Before
I'm sure there's pictures of some troops during Operation Enduring Freedom, wearing the Burger King.
I should just ask my dad the next time I'm over at my parents. Be like, hey, you were there.
You were there.
I got 2 questions.
Did you go to the Burger King? Did they have
go to the Burger King at Bagram Air Force Base? Did you get the crown? Did you get a Whopper, Dad? I got questions.
How old's your dad?
My dad is in his mid-50s.
So he's like an early Gen Xer.
Yeah, he's Gen X. He's like a young Gen X. I don't know where Gen X cuts off. He's yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So that was like core like Iraq War demographic, yeah.
Oh yeah, like and not to mention older millennials.
Yeah, and older millennials, yeah.
Because like JD Vance joined after 9. There's a lot of people who I'm friends with who joined the service or were inspired by their father's service because of the Iraq War to go join the military.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild how many guys our age joined because of their parents. Due to the war. Like I remember when I was in high school, I remember reading an article from the Stars and Stripes talking about a guy who had joined and was now patrolling the same sort of spots his father was like 18, 15 years ago. And I was like incredibly depressed reading that because it was just like, what the hell do I do with this information?
Yeah.
In the sense that
I don't know. That's kind of quaint, though. That is kind of like, and it's terrible, but like, it is
terrible and quaint. Yeah, but like, it's just like that's a wild thing to say out loud. It's just
dad was at this base. That the insurgent.
I think the Onion made a whole fucking article making fun of that. Just like son really happy to serve in like the same location as dad did in Iraq.
The insurgent that I'm shooting at, his dad was the same insurgent my dad was shooting
my
at.
Dad shot your dad. Like it's God, it makes you just fucking depressed.
That's crazy when they're gonna have like the World War II style like meet and greets between Al Qaeda and American veterans.
Probably not.
No, probably not. But like, it'd be funny though, like in a weird way.
I mean, it'll never happen.
My dad shot at your dad. It's like, no, it's never gonna happen. But like,
I get what you're saying though.
No, there are guys in Eastern Europe. Like, there's probably guys like that. Like, their father was fighting in either the Ukrainian armed forces or the Donbass militia, and now their son is fighting in like either the AFU or in the Russian forces. So like that definitely, like, I know there's guys like, they're literally like commanders that were fighting against the Chechens when they were privates who are now working hand in hand with the said descendants or with those same people that rose the ranks in the Chechen army. Like, so, that's another weird, strange example. But anyways, defend the Burger Town. That was
Ramirez.
Ramirez defend the Burger Town. That was great. That was.
I feel like Infinity Ward should have paid extra to get like a licensed chain. Like, how much money do you think McDonald's could have made in 2008 or 9 when that game came out? They sponsored
Call of Duty.
And they had sponsored Call of Duty, and they were just like, "Hey, Infinity Ward, hey, U.S. military, we really want Burger Town to be like our new McDonald's location."
Yeah, that's like the Simpsons at a Simpsons house.
We need it, It would be something.
Anyways. Oh God.
Back to Hopper.
Although Hopper depicted couples in his work, these figures appear to drive the little consolation from intimacy. For example, in both Summer in the City and Excursion into Philosophy, figure looks down despondently at the floor while the lover sleeps. There's actually an inverse where, here you go. Like, I guess a lot of guys in the chat can relate to this, though. Like the shame of the next morning.
Yeah.
But a figure looked down despondently at the floor while a lover sleeps. The mood of such paintings involves, as Iverson rightly claims, more than a post-coital... He actually said it! A post-coital sadness, as the despair of a failed relationship. Instead, these characters are wrapped in thought as if contemplating past weakness or future failure. They seem to experience an existential gloom or anguish. Now, to me, I think like you could say like, okay, yeah, he's like with someone he regrets, but like it's more so like he's a businessman and maybe they're on a vacation, like it's a hotel room. And there's actually one where Hopper, he paints, if you look at the background and like the sort of like hedgerows, there's actually another painting where Hopper paints a more developed version of those hedgerows. And so he's using the same location. So to me, I think it's more of like they're supposed to be on vacation, but like a businessman is contemplating, like, I don't know, he's going to get fired or he didn't get the promotion. Like or it could just be regret. You never know. Like, I think in this one, it's more so like
there's a twang of regret in there.
Yeah, like she slept with a guy she shouldn't have, and it's not going to work out. In this respect, it is significant that Hopper's subjects are often shown in particular states, one of waiting. His figures are found adrift in reverie's surface, but this arguably provokes uneasiness in the viewer. This may be due to the quiet desperation of the lives of these characters. Iverson claims that, quote, their withdrawal from life is partly voluntary, their solitude self-imposed. Perhaps there is something uncanny about figures whose only form of empowerment appears to be the capacity for introspective retreat. Is this the source of our anxiety? Well, living in Canada, having experienced various bureaucratic apparatuses such as the healthcare system or, getting your license or whatever, you are like just sitting there in an office in like a waiting room for hours upon hours. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of wild too, because I don't watch, like I don't have a TV. And so when I visit my family, that's when I see
Boomer Vision.
That's when I see Boomer Vision.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like I don't like who the hell watches this shit is my question all the time. Like I'm asking like who is doing this? Like who gives a shit? And then like, you mentioned that, and I was thinking to myself, I just saw a commercial on Sunday. I saw a commercial for a TV show based off the DMV.
Really?
And I'm thinking to myself, who would watch a show about the worst place in God's green earth? And it's not the worst place, obviously, but it raises I'm like, why? Who wants this?
It
Who's
really
watching television? Correction, who's watching like cable television? Where, it's like, oh man, did you see the latest DMV? No? Like apparently it's the same guys who made a fucking sitcom based off working at like Walmart. And I'm like, who is this for? It eludes me.
It reminds me of that one scene. Did you ever watch this like weirdo crazy animation called Quasi at the Quackadero?
No, but you have my attention.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I remember Terrence McKenna talking about it. There's this one scene where Quasi, he's looking at this like screen, or he's looking at the workers at this Quackadero theme park, and he's like, I love watching people work. And it's like me and my friend in real life, because he's a big animation buff, like he actually went to school for animation. He's like, it's so funny how like nowadays on YouTube you have like people cleaning carpets, bushcraft videos, people like doing like blue collar jobs, filming themselves, like mowing lawns. It's like literally people love to watch people work.
Well, it's like what Deleuze and Guattari had said, right? Like we have a compulsion to produce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The compulsion of the doubling of reality as well. Like you're watching your double. Like say you're mowing lawns and you're watching people mow lawns. Like I guess the same way when I watch people paint. Like I watch plenty of videos on YouTube, but like this is different though. It's like, and I gotta admit, like I like a lot of lawn care videos, or like I don't know. I guess like I shouldn't like totally demonize it as like a sort of like, oh wow, Black Mirror, this is terrible, look at modern life and the internet. Because I think like the reason those videos are popular is obviously because
they're relatable. Everyone gets like if I watch somebody do their own job, or like I even watch Mike of Pole who do his work on Twitter when he's on there, or he's or he's on a space or whatever, and he's just talking about his job and what he's working on.
He's definitely not clipping my show, but anyways.
Are you paying him to do it?
I will,
Okay.
but he hasn't bit, so
Okay.
he says he's gonna do it, but it's like
I'm just clarifying that like we are just asking questions.
I like the Nick Fuentes answer where you said like I don't really pay them, but now I can pay them. Anyways, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I think I said my piece. I was just asking a question of whether or not you were going to pay him. I think the reason why also that stuff is it's relatable. Everyone's had a shit day at work. Everyone's
No, what I was gonna say is that like in those videos in particular, it scratches an itch of like seeing something being clean or something completed. Like I think that's what it is. Like it's a yearning for tidiness and completion and like wanting something to be done. Like seeing an absolutely incredibly nasty lawn that's been neglected for years, like just disappearing under the mower and the weed whacker.
I'm not gonna lie, those rug cleaning videos are incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, even though a lot of them are fake, but they are
Oh,
satisfying.
I'm sure, but like, good.
Yeah, although I think it's like I don't know, it's kind of a huge waste of resources. So it's like, but yeah, I know I'm like one of those freaks where it's like if I waste something, I hate it. Like if I waste even a bit of paint, or like if I, you know when you like, mates because I'm autistic.
I can relate to that just because the stuff that I use to paint is so expensive.
Yeah. Well, what do you use to paint?
Well, I use earth pigments, so like the pigments that I use for iconography, it's just like shit's expensive. So it's like I really don't want to like waste this. So if I mix too much, I'm like, oh damn it, like now I've got to find a place where I can use this, or can I blend this somewhere, X, Y, and Z, and you're just like left super frustrated because it's like, oh no, I've just wasted all of this.
Yeah, or like even
money.
like the soap dispenser, like if you're washing your hair and or like like you got a shower gel and like you put too much. I hate that. I don't know why. Maybe
I definitely relate to that one the most.
Yeah. Speaking of Dick Cheney, I think I said this on stream before, but like, what really pissed me off about George Bush doing those paintings is there's that picture of him in his studio, his like little studio room in his ranch.
Yeah.
And he's using Winsor & Newton painting. Like he's using Winsor & Newton oil paint. It's like if you're come from the super wealthy like American dynasty family and you were the president of the United States, why are you like you can afford,
why are you using the cheap shit?
Yeah, like you can afford Old Holland or Michael Harding or even gambling. Like I use gambling, but like even like just I don't know, like use like Blue Ridge American handmade oil paint that's like super exclusive. What else am I thinking of? Yeah, Old Holland, like $100 a tube. Like come on, you're using Winsor & Newton. Like you're not even using it like in terms of impasto, where like you need a whole ton of it, right? Like there's like a lot of these like painters on YouTube, like Turner Vincent, where he'll be doing plein air painting outdoors, but he'll do like this impasto thing where he's using his hands and he's just got like literal like mountains of paint on the palette. Like he's not even doing that. It's just it frustrated me. But anyways, George W. Bush. But anyways, do you want to read Prude? My voice is getting.
Yeah, I can read for you. Where did we leave?
The Melancholy of Michael Mann.
All right, let me fucking zoom in real quick with my own eyes. The melancholy of Michael Mann's films can be discerned in various ways. For example, as Thurett argues, Mann's male characters are often aging figures burdened by disappointment or failure. At the beginning of Manhunter, Will Graham lives in retirement from the FBI because of mental and physical wounds he sustained in the capture of Hannibal Lecter. In Collateral, Max has spent 11 years driving a taxi, while his nemesis Vincent appears increasingly aware of the futility of his own existence as a hitman. Thurett proposes that Mann's men are trapped in a metaphorical aquarium. They spend days dreaming of the world in front of them, but they know that coming out of the water would be fatal. In Thief, a photographic collage represents Frank's idea of a perfect life. A wife, a child, liberating his mentor from prison. Max keeps a photograph of a coral isle in his taxi to provide tranquility. In Heat, Neil is determined not to return to prison after long periods of incarceration. He dreams of escape to Fiji. Anything there, Gio, or do you want me to keep going?
Why didn't he escape to Fiji, though?
Well, we know why.
Because it's one last score?
Not even the one last score. It's he finally found attachment.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There are resonances between Hopper's interests and the conditions of urban life that Charette calls Mann's elegies a lost era subsumed by a cruel technological present. Although Mann's men display superior skills and dominate the terrain they inhabit, they are also increasingly anachronistic figures who experience a sense of hyper-alienation. Very true.
They're barbarians in the modern world, really.
They are out of time. The phrase "time is luck" is used on several occasions in Mann's films. Thus, Frank's autonomy is threatened by the corporatization of crime and thief. Chingachgook and Hawkeye struggle with the imperial encroachment in The Last of the Mohicans, and the insider, Wiggin and Bergman, are unable to preserve the integrity within a corrupt corporate environment. Near the end of the film, Bergman tells veteran 60 Minutes journalist Mike Wallace, what got broken here doesn't go back together again.
Speaking of kids who are total mediocrities of their parents.
Speaking of characters there, Wallace. The socioeconomic or cultural isolation of Mann's male characters has a corollary in their difficulties in forming or maintaining personal relationships. To some extent, this is unsurprising because Mann's men are defined by work. Emotional detachment is an indication of their professionalism, even a requirement. As Neil says in Heat, don't let yourself get attached to anything that you are not willing to walk on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. Thus, he leaves his partner Edie at the end of the film when Vincent appears, while Vincent's third marriage disintegrates in the course of the film because of his dedication to the pursuit of criminals rather than the communicating honestly with his wife Justine. This type of withdrawal has its apotheosis at the end of Thief. Frank sends his wife and child into exile, thereby killing his inner life in order to render himself capable of wreaking revenge on Leo and his gang. Instead, these men are more likely to develop a psychological bond with, or tacit respect for, a rival or double. Will is paired with Lecter and Dollarhide, and Manhunter, Neil and Vincent in Heat, Wiggin and Bergman in The Insider, Max and Vincent in Collateral.
That's a very interesting point there, because you become that thing that you are pursuing. Very similar to, of course, Apocalypse Now. You have to inhabit the spirit of the Heart of Darkness in order to really, dive into the Jungian unconscious, right? But no, it's something that Parker Longbow, he said this on the recent episode of Content Minded, which you all should watch after this show. He said that the thing with pulp writing that is so fascinating to young men in particular is that in modern media, it's very hard to find a competent man. Heat was one of the few films. I mean, I shouldn't say that in general.
Heat's 30 years old.
Yeah, where you have a competent man that can do what he is doing and is sure of himself. And even though he gets lost in the pursuit, he still is competent and he still is a man who can control own space, right? So I think that's another very powerful motif. But anyways, did you want to say something? This is good stuff right here.
This is a really good essay. I'm glad you found it. No, I think that what the writer here is really pointing out is this something that I think what you mentioned earlier about the literally me character. Because what is the literally me character always looking at? He is the embodiment of being a man lost in a world that he doesn't understand anymore.
Yeah.
He is, in The Place Beyond the Pines, or our entire episode with all of the Ryan Gosling films, he is a man that is left to his own devices and relishes in the struggle because that's all he's got left to him. Either because he's lost everything or because he knows that he has to do this in order to get everything.
Time's running out, yeah.
Yeah, time's running out, or that he relishes the grief or the misery. He's like a masochistic Charlie Brown. He's the grief is good. Because that's what I think Ryan Gosling films really do a good job of.
Well, even in The Believer, the grief and the despair over his own identity is it's internal, but it's not,
to a point where it becomes self-sacrificial.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And he goes to his people's heaven forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
Yeah.
This is it. Which is that's a really tragic way to conclude a film. But
there's no one up there, There's no one up there. He keeps going and going and going. That really is purgatory. It really is Sheol, right? that's such a great film, The Believer. But anyways, no, but like in Place Beyond the Pines, like it's very funny, like how half the film does not have Ryan Gosling.
No, and it's about the son who is on the same track.
It's the absence of yeah. But no, but like his effects lives on in his absence, in his tragic end. And yeah, so but you were saying, Prude?
So in that hyper alienation, I mean, it's the same thing with all the Hopper paintings. Like it is the man most of the time, if not all the time, looking out and trying to make sense of the world around him.
And women too, and women.
But I mean, men and women feel the same thing. I mean, differently, obviously, but there is that alienation. There is that sensation that like there's something so terribly wrong here that I can't express words. I can only do it. And I think all people have experienced this at least once in their lives, where there is nothing. What else is there to say? As we so often have said on the show, like what more is there to say other than to just like calmly absorb and to wait and to feel the crashing of emotions. It was the same thing, I think, what we saw when it came to Kirk's assassination. Is like, well, what else is there to say? Like we all now know that this is it. I don't have anything else to add, because like there's a certain point where the commentary fails and you can only just kind of quietly look out into the horizon or out your window or at your screen or some blank space in your office, and you kind of realize that like, oh, this is it. And I think a lot of people kind of turn that into like, oh, well, you didn't, as the Frens theme song goes, like, no one told you life was going to go this way. Like, yeah, sure, absolutely. But at the same time, for every person, especially who listens, I think there is that moment where you realize, oh, like this could be it. And there's not much more else to it.
To quote the found footage film Savage Land, we can't go back to normal anymore because normal doesn't exist.
Normies don't exist.
Yeah, normies don't. The Impossible Normie.
He doesn't exist.
That's a great Substack title, The Impossible Normie.
The Impossible Normie.
It's taking like our viewership as Night Owls keeps going about Mundani.
That's okay.
Anyways, we'll wrap up soon. Please need those super chats. God, please.
Let me go. We'll read like one more paragraph, and then we can get to the supers.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take over. So yeah, these are actually that's actually one of very famous.
Office in a Small City. I relate to that painting every day. And you know what's worse? I don't have a fucking window.
You don't have a window?
I don't have a window in my office.
Oh my god!
I have a door that peeks out to where I see my coworker's office, and she has a window. So for me, most of the time, I have a icon of King David that I painted that I have in my office, and that's what I end up doing is I just end up staring at him, and I'm like,
oh man,
because like I do live. I mean, I work. I'm an average guy, I guess, but like I hate my my LED sort of fluorescent lights, and I hate that. Despite requesting a blue light, the buzzing and the blue and the lack of blue light filter on my like computer screens. And I have a dual monitor setup, so I bought blue light filtering glasses, which I think have helped. But it's just like I feel like him, where I just look out and I'm like, I think the closest thing is like I've posted this as a meme, but it's like it's a frog in bed and it's like nighttime and he just looks out the window and he goes, man, and I'm like, that's me. He's like a little Edward Hopper painting, except he's an Edward Frogger painting, and it's just. I feel that.
Someone has probably done a frog version of Edward Hopper.
I need a frog.
That Russian girl has probably done one.
I need Office in a Small City by Edward Hopper, but I need it to be me. My frog. Do it now.
Yeah, Owen Zaleski, get on that.
Get on it, Owen.
Yeah. Anyways, Edward Frogger. There you go. Edward Frogger. But anyways, Hopper's use of windows in his painting is a major feature of his mess unseen of waiting. He was a consummate painter of rooms. He employed windows to motivate his compositions, often using them to facilitate his expressionist lighting techniques. As Wagstaff contends, Hopper throws light into their interiors with a penetrating beam as unwavering as moonlight and sunlight, high-keyed and relentless. Rhomboid shafts of light illuminating his rooms, enabling us to observe his character on the surface of contemporary life as they sit on a bed, drink a cup of coffee, or work in the office. Windows provide a notional view of the exterior world, such as in room in Brooklyn or office in a small city, where they also confine his characters. Hopper's windows appear as only access to the outside in an otherwise imprisoning interior, a point of connection with the public domain as that only serves to underline the overriding sense of separation. This can be seen in 11 a.m., room in Brooklyn, morning sun, office in a small city, city sunlight, and hotel room. Each of these paintings depict a single figure who is watching or waiting. I don't know what YouTube feels about nudity in painting. Morning Sun is one of my favorites, by the way. Is one of my favorite women works of his. Hotel Room is pretty good as well. But here, notice how he can look out of the city, but the dual windows. I mean, a lot of a lot of wages stuck in a cage, such as yourself, Prude. You would kill for this office, would you not?
Oh yeah,
yeah. But notice how he is observing, but he is also ever present. He can never have a private moment, even though nobody cares. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the room in 2001: A Space Odyssey a little bit. It's almost like you can sense that we are viewing him like he's being viewed by an unseen force in a weird way. Think of it, a room like that. I mean, do they even exist in modern offices? I'm sure they probably do, but it's like you have two windows. It looks great. You can see the city, but you're also being viewed all the time. It's like one of those.
There's no privacy.
Yeah,
but at a certain point, do you really care? You're that high up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but maybe I'm making too much of it. But no, it's sort of like those Frank Lloyd Wright field hugger houses with the huge windows. They can only really exist out in the country, right? Because it's unless you have gigantic garish curtains, I don't know, you're walking around in your underwear, people can see you, or there's certain horror movies of people stalking you, those huge windows,
or Hitchcock's Rear Window.
Yeah, the Rear Window. Yeah. Imagine one of those homes during the zombie apocalypse, you'd be forced to see them all the time.
I think that's been done.
That's probably been done. Well, I know in Dawn of the Dead with the mall.
Yeah, but I mean apartment buildings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that has to have been done by somebody.
There was this great Italian one where the guy survived in an elevator shaft.
That's clever.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Manhunter, you read this, Prude.
All right, I can go read it. Let me go get my eyes super close to the screen. All right. All right, that's good. Where'd you leave off of?
On the other occasions of Mann's films.
On the other occasions of Mann's films, windows function as a transparent boundary between the aquarium and the world beyond. When they occur, we become aware of some of the characters' loneliness, dissatisfaction with life, or desire for transformation. Neil gazes at the Pacific Ocean and the scene from Heat, as we discussed earlier. There's a similar moment in Miami Vice when the police visit a rich criminal at his lavish waterfront home. Sonny Crockett's attention wanders away from the conversation for a few seconds. He stares at the large window out the ocean. Is he bored? Is he thinking of the opportunities to shed his identity that working undercover will bring? Does Sonny envision Isabella, a woman without borders, before they have met? In The Insider, Jeffrey Wiggins gazes at the sea while trying to decide whether he should testify in Mississippi. A mandolin plays softly on the soundtrack as he considers crossing the Rubicon. He is thoughtful, anxious, hesitant, and above all, uncertain as to what to do or how the future will unfold. Mann's men often find the sea on the other side of the looking glass. Frank says in Thief that the sea is our divinity, and it is often a refuge in Mann's films. In Collateral, Max looks at the photograph of a coral isle to preserve his equilibrium. The first and last shots of Will Graham and Manhunter are his life by the ocean, and his dream sequences show his working building boats. On the other occasions, the water is a goal or destination. Neil dreams of the Fiji lagoons and Heat, while in Thief, Frank and his new family wander along the beach after a successful heist. However, as Thorette states, for Mann, the sea is the canonical image of impossible journeys, those that everyone dreams about, but no one is able to take.
Well, that's like Frank Darabont in Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the island. Yeah, what's this about aquarium syndrome?
Yeah, we'll read that. Can we postulate an aquarium syndrome in Hopper's work? He's frequently painted solitary people who are noticeably demarcated from or dwarfed by the world on the other side of the glass, as in Morning Sun, Office in a Small City, and Hotel Room. Gail Levin argues that even when other figures are visible, the central characters are psychologically remote, existing in private space of dreams and contemplation. This is also evident in Sunlight in a cafeteria. A woman sits reading, bathed in light coming through a large window. She ignores the man who may be about to speak to her. Interestingly, many of Hopper's most relaxed and optimistic paintings, such as The Long Leg and the Martha McKean of Wellfleet, figures 24 through 25, depict nautical subjects. He spent a good deal of time living and working in Cape Cod. In Rooms by the Sea, 1951, a door opens directly onto the water. It is an image that could appear in a Michael Mann film.
Well, someone has compared that particular one, this one, to like a very dreamlike, almost like liminal space. A lot of liminal space compilations actually use this motif where like the back rooms opens up into a sea world, or like the water,
the pool room or whatever.
The pool rooms, yeah. And so it's a very like dream-like depiction of looking out into the unconscious. As we know from Carl Jung, the sea in the dream space is a sort of metaphor for the oceanic unconscious. And Hopper did such an incredible visionary work. I mean, to me, it rivals anything of like the sort of psychedelic kitsch of, say, like Alex Gray, or even like the fantastical realism of Ernst Fuchs. Like it's such a minimalistic depiction of the unconscious. And I think that's where we can let me see if there's any more.
I think it's I'm surprised that no one's given this title, but you could easily call Hopper, like, you could say, like, oh, the prophet of liminality.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, I think people have, like, there has been like YouTube video essays.
Oh, I'm sure, but like with
I think Solar Stands. Oh yeah, oh man, that's a great. I gotta steal that. The prophet of liminality.
You're welcome.
Because I wanted to write more about Edward Hopper after I wrote that essay, but I just never got around to it. Michael Mann shunned. That's pretty good. But anyways, it talks about time. And that's the famous one from Heat. And
that movie's so good.
As well as representing the subject's modes, Hopper's use of light also metaphorically figures the position of spectator. There are no characters present in either Rooms by the Sea or Sunlight in an Empty Room. Instead, both paintings contain larger, bolder shapes of sunlight entering ostensibly through an aperture. Such paintings do more than represent the mood of a particular space. Rather, they are an occasion for a meditation, something we occupy the sight of the absent figure. In Rooms by the Sea, the warmth of sunlight and the tantalizing proximity of the water seems to offer a sense of freedom and optimism. Sheena Wagstaff argues that Sunlight in an Empty Room encourages us to search for the lighted source. The result is that rather than substituting ourselves for the missing human figure, we might meet Hopper himself. Through our intuitive tracing of the light's origins, we are led to feel the artist's own presence and subjective relationship to the scene, oscillating between disidentification with our actual presence looking into the room and the artist's self-reflective embodiment as light source. I don't know, I disagree. I don't really see Hopper there because he's not doing, like, in any plein air work, right? Like, especially Edward Hopper's, you can sense the artist there. You can sense them depicting, like, there's even one sense of where Hopper is painting the shadow of him painting a landscape. But here, I don't really see it. I see, like, a pure absence that's purposeful. Like, maybe Hopper was there, but where is there, right? Like, it's not there. So it's a very different feeling than, I think, like a plein air work where, because it's done on location, it's done alla prima, which means all at once. It's done in one. I mean, a lot of plein air works are done in multiple sessions, but like, it's done in one sitting, one location. You could sense like that is an interpretation of what the artist is seeing. The phenomenological remnant of the artist is there. But I disagree in the sense I don't see the remnant of the artist here. I see this dream space. And maybe it's my own like weird reification of it. But Let's
I
go.
think it also has to do with your own experiences doing it.
Right. That's another thing. Yeah. Whereas like other people may have a different interpretation. So that's a good point, Prue. That's true. Let's consider one of those moments in man's work that it functions more of an affect, existential, metaphorical level rather than in terms of narrative. While Max is driving Vincent around in Collateral, they happen upon a pair of coyotes who are themselves wandering the streets of Los Angeles at night. Encouraging encounter seems to resonate with Vincent in particular. Does he ponder his future as a predator? And is an anachronism, a wild animal trying to survive in an environment where he doesn't belong. He complains repeatedly about LA in the film. What would he do if he didn't kill people for a living? There's also something unsettling about this event for the audience. This is perhaps figured by the reflection of the coyote's eyes in the car's headlights and the rising intensity of the music, like the instant in time recorded as a photograph. This freakish occurrence is radically singular, never on repeat. Even as it unfolds, it seems as if it's already slipping by our grasp. This moment, like other in Mann's works we have discussed, reminds us that if Hopper's figures are seen waiting, then Mann's male characters hover into an existential limbo, somewhere between an absent origin and a non-existent tomorrow. Wounded by the past, they crave a future which cannot actualize. They're urban descendants of Ethan Edwards, relentless figures who roam the nondescript space of contemporary life, such as hospitals, hotel rooms, roadside cafes, vacant lots, airports, warehouses, empty apartments. Basically, Ogg's non-space, the non-place, right?
Yeah.
Places that don't really have a future or a past. They're stuck in total postmodern limbo. Mann's man may, like Hopper's character, possess a degree of self-awareness, but for all of their skills, they remain trapped in a present that is not on the cusp of disappearing. Denise writes that Mann's films contain a nostalgic, elegant feeling of pathos for worlds and relationships that are disappearing and falling apart. The melancholic picture of Michael Mann and Edward Hopper allows us to hold this fragment of a fallen world in a brief but pungent embrace before they are washed away. That is incredible because we are witness in everyday life to design choices and to non-places that don't evoke a sense of the past except for corporate branding, like the modern like McDonald's or any like food slop. They all look the same, right? Like that's the YouTube video essays talk about this.
Yeah.
You know,
or even millennial gray.
Exactly. Millennial gray is the non-place. It doesn't have a past or a future. It does not denote a sort of dwelling in time in the Heideggerian.
It's a demarcation that you do not own it.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And it's like it can be anywhere around the world. It can be any time. It can be oddly anachronistic, and you look at a photo from 20 years ago, and it's the same as today. It's the same as tomorrow. It's like that's the non-place. It's like a doctor's office looks the same.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the nondescript doctor's office, or like the Alan Alda's law office in Marriage Story. Like it's the nondescript place.
Yeah, or like an up in the air. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's been there. Everyone's been in the airport terminal. It doesn't matter if you I mean, that's sort of the thing about like a lot of AI photos or generated stuff too. It's like, it's all based off non-places. Like that's the thing. Like, what's the largest thing that it can work off of besides our own data? It's like, well, stock photos and stuff that's staged and stuff that has been staged from movies and television. And so what does it have to tell us? Well, it has to tell us that functionally it looks familiar, but it's also deeply unsettling because it doesn't actually belong or exist.
It doesn't have a space of dwelling. It doesn't have a cultural referent that denotes a sort of past and future. It can be anywhere, and it can be any region of the world. And unless you're like, unless you're, for example, like a corporate designer, you're into corporate design, where you could like detect like the subtle changes in the carpet and the overlay. You're not going to get that. The average person isn't going to get that.
No,
they're going to be in this like alien nowhere land where it's open to everybody, and that's really a product of like consumer capitalism as well. Because it's like, why would I have a unique like they've literally
why have unique space? It's not meant for me.
Exactly. They literally transcended uniqueness in brand design to where it's like literally just flat and nothing. It's like the Swedish design model of like bold lettering. Like everything looks like a public service announcement. Like every corporate brand. And it's like it's like why have like they perfected capitalist exploitation and consumerism to where everything now looks the same except for the logo, and even the logos look the same, right? It's very funny how, like, I know it's like we're just haggling over slop, like the Jack Posobiec tweet from years ago that I cited in my book. Like, they've even transcended unique style, which you would figure, like, to differentiate yourself as a corporate brand, right? But it's like, no, that's not the model. That's not convenient. Like, it's like, well, I have to set up a McDonald's or a Pizza Hut in Kuala Lumpur, and I have to set up one in Azerbaijan, and I have to set up one in London and Paris or whatever. It's like, no, it has to be the same box. Like, what did Jack Mason, Perfume Nationalist, say? It looks like a modern fireplace design from 2009. That's what every slop box corporate design looks like nowadays. If I go to McDonald's, if I go to Burger King, if I go to not Buc-ee's, but like if I go to,
no,
Taco
Buc-ee's
Bell,
has that.
Yeah,
it has that. It has that feeling. Like, you can definitely tell that there's a corporate model and design. It doesn't feel organic. It's very explicit. I mean, it helps that what it's selling you is a clean space with things that are reasonably priced, and that there's live, laugh, love shit everywhere. Like, that's that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a very cut through corporate model that everyone can kind of see and identify.
It's useful to truckers and
well, actually no, because it's not for truckers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you ever go to a Buc-ee's, there'll be signs by the parking lot that explicitly say no trucks.
Oh my god!
It is for passing, travelers on the road.
I thought it was it was the largest truck stop.
Well, I mean, it is, but it's not for truckers. It's a gas station, car stop, convenience store, but it's not.
Oh,
it's not for 18-wheelers. It's not for semis.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My impression of Buc-ee's was totally wrong. Everything rapidly approaching gray cubification. I know we make fun of the ification of things, but that's true. Gray and shitification. Truckers keep moving. This is a car zone. That's funny. So while our viewership is being destroyed by slop talk about the New York City election, let's go to the please Sneed Supers. I know a lot of people at Entropy have been very generous, but Sneed those supers. This is what I do, and
this is Gio's job.
Oh, speaking of which, speaking of cross promotion.
Yes.
Okay, me and you.
Yes.
We're gonna do this. We're going to do a crossover with Timeline Earth.
Are you ready for that?
What do you mean?
Do you listen to Timeline Earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Then we're good.
It's not optical or
no. I was just asking if you had if you watched the show or not.
I watched.
This was just like a random thought. I'm all for it.
I'm I'm currently binging the Spooktober mega 10-hour.
It's good shit.
Yeah, the Jay Burden one where they stole our idea. They review Quan Mills.
Well, no one gave Gio $100, so yeah.
Yeah. Give me $100. I'll review. This bitch got roaches in her crib. Or my baby daddy's
paramount of American literature.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was that much social commentary in Quan Mills' books.
He has a lot of things to say.
Yeah. So $100 for any. I know, for books they charge more, but these apparently
he was about to offer the Quan Mills fucking discount.
Yeah, the Quan Mills discount. I'll read a whole Quan Mills book, but the title has to be optical, though. That's the only thing I request. It can't be like my N-word has a small member. It can't be that, but it can be the other ones. Maybe Old Thought Next Door. That's another good one. But yeah, so Prue, we're gonna have to set this up.
That's fine. I'll talk to Berto.
Yeah, Berto, I know he loves the show, so please talk to Berto. I know he DM'd me. But yeah, please talk to Berto. We're gonna set up a time we're gonna do this. DA is going to cross over with Timeline Earth.
Sounds
and
good to me.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be incredible. So let's go to the super chats. Let's do YouTube. So please, let's do YouTube first. But I'm gonna go to the creator thing because I've already made the mistake of highlighting super chats before. Where is it? Earn. Supers. I think we have 2 supers. No, we have more. Okay. Where does it say? Oh yeah, see all. So here we go. For $10, Vulpes Persona, thank you. Watched Jack Reacher for the first time last night. Enjoyed it as much as I watched Point Break after. During the skydiving scene, I'm wondering, is Catherine Bigelow America's Leni Riefenstahl? No.
Next question.
No. Next question. Her Locker was pretty good though.
That is true.
Yeah. What other films has she directed?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. That's the only film I know her for.
Wasn't she married to James Cameron?
I think so at one point.
Point Break, Zero Dark.
Or are they still married? I don't know.
No, they divorced.
They divorced? Okay.
Zero Dark 30, wasn't that like a CIA film?
What film isn't a CIA film? Not to get all parapolitical.
That's true.
That's what I should start saying now. It's like, I don't mean to get all political here. I'm just going to say not to get all parapolitical here.
Oh, she directed Strange Days? That is an amazing, like, early 2000s millennial, like mid-90s millennial nostalgia film. That is an incredible film. I will, like, for $100,
yeah, we are not immune to propaganda. You can send it our way.
I'll review Strange Days for even $50. The Strange Days is an incredible film. It's great. Like, especially that one dialogue by Ralph Fiennes, who's like the dream merchant. Like that, yeah. Strange Days is an incredible film. I loved it. And See Me Rollin' for $5. I enjoy listening to you guys. Thank you, See Me Rollin'.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You're the reason why we do it. Exactly.
So let's move on to the entropy. Of course, I prefer entropy if you're doing an entropy. So let's go from low to high. Sam153 for $5. Was the Cracker Barrel logo debacle a societal rebuttal of the gray zombification of a beloved food franchise? Seemed like a homely place not too long ago. Well, I maintain it was a psyop. It was like literally a marketing device.
I don't know how much of it was like a quote unquote. I'm not sure if I want to buy it being a psyop. I really do think it just has to do with the fact that this woman who had, been at the head of the company now and wanted to redesign. I think a lot of it was just that, like, they were doing what they had done virtually everywhere else and what they had worked on. And they just happened to work for one of the places that was this, to quote Murdoch, like the last stand of implicit white identity. Like, I think it has a lot more to do, not just as maybe not a rebuttal, but it has more to say about the fact that there are still parts of America's consumer demographic that still give a shit about things. And I mean, even though Cracker Barrel, you can definitely tell it feels kind of kitschy, it's still miles and miles better than most places. Like I don't have anything bad to say about it because I'm glad that they won. And maybe it is a societal rebuttal, but at the same time, it's Cracker Barrel. Like, it has a very specific demographic, and I don't really see that demographic expanding. If anything, kind of contracting, which is sad in its own right. But I don't know. Would love to be wrong.
I think the closest Cracker Barrel to me is Niagara Falls, New York. I might have to go. No, wait. Yeah. Curbside. Where is that? It's got to be. It's Niagara Falls, New York. I might go. It's only 40 minutes away. I might go to Cracker Barrel. I'll go to. What's on the menu? Like, what do they serve?
Country food.
Okay.
Southern food.
All right. I could deal with it. Yeah, I'll try it.
You should.
All right. I'll have to look up Cracker Barrel. No, but when I say sub, like it was clearly like a slop discourse generator. Like it was like I think I forget like which contrarian take it was that said like, why are you guys warring over Cracker Barrel? But I guess like people, like a lot of people said that about Posobiec's tweet when it happened. Like it was, like
my favorite Posobiec food.
Why do you care about this Pizza Hut?
Because he was laundering a Counterpoints article or Countercurrents article from like 10 years ago. I'm like, wait, I was reading it and I was like, wait a second. What are you doing?
Oh my god.
Why is the former spook tweeting about a Countercurrents piece? I have questions.
Yeah. That's funny. No, but I think like it does denote like a serious critique of like modern like consumerist living. And it's like why does Breezewood always become like an object of discourse every like 6 months to a year? Or at least like once a year Breezewood gets mentioned, and like all the irony leftists embrace it for different reasons. All of like rightoid frogs embrace it for different reasons.
Hickman has entered the chat.
Yeah, Hickman is it. Yeah. Oh boy, people were like really like tearing him apart, for that one thing about like
his daughter.
I wanted to start a community in like
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't start a community in a financially depressed area unless you're going to bring investment and money into it.
Yeah, unless you're
I really hate to be that guy.
Yeah, unless you're doing like a sort of
unless you're gentrifying.
Yeah, like you're gentrifying a whole town like the Osho community did in Ohio, or was it Ohio or was it Oklahoma or Idaho? I think it was Idaho.
Probably Idaho.
Yeah, I think it was Idaho. Like unless you're willing to like have like a cult like compound community, like you're invading a small dying town and you're just taking it over with all of your friends, like with all of your oomfies. Like it's not gonna work, Hickman. I'm sorry. Like he's like the pull of the urbanism is too strong. It's like yes.
No, it's not even the pull of the urbanism. It's just that I don't want to live in a dying shithole. Like it's not out of cruelty that I say that. It's just like, well, what?
Facts are facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one wants to live in Gary, Indiana. I hate to say
that would change if Gary, Indiana was like safe and had like good opportunities in a good school, but like those,
right?
It's the like countercurrent, or not the counter. It's like the VDARE guys are always just like the American dream is to escape the consequences of America.
I think that was James Kirkpatrick.
Yeah. It's just like that take is there for a reason.
Yeah. Oh my god. And Sam153 for $20. Thank you, Sam153. Sometimes the action is the juice, and we are newer going back. We are never going. Sometimes the action is the juice, and we're never going back. Sneed and take it easy, Slicks. You're almost home free, and make sure someone doesn't waste your motherfucking time.
So true.
You're not part of the crew. You're not in the game. You're not a real wood. Klingston, what do you think about the New York situation? We already talked about that in the beginning.
New York will get worse.
New York will get worse. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
New York will get worse, and it is a sign of the future non-white Democratic Party.
Yeah, it really is like the millennial.
Like this is the fight between.
Kid.
Yeah, like it's the fight of the Democratic Party of the future is like sort of like WASP Democrats and like whites and Jews versus like Hispanic and Mideast and East Asian progressives who hate them.
Yeah, millennial progressives, yeah.
Yeah, like non-white millennial progressives versus Gen X white progressives that are like still trying to get in touch with a demographic that those millennial progressives would love to just execute.
Yeah, like Beto O'Rourke, like with a skateboard.
Well, O'Rourke is part of it. Like O'Rourke is white, like Robert Francis O'Rourke, but like he's functionally Mexican in the sense, and I know that'll piss off some Mexican listening, but like it's like he's functionally Mexican and he identifies with them more than him being white. and him being white is just a canard to like talk about how evil white people are. And that's really like the future of the Democratic Party is just like, you know, white boomer and Gen Xers.
Like the future of the Republican Party is like H1B Brahmins versus Chuds. Yeah, it's like, oh man.
Pull up the Cal Crucius, you know, chart of America in 2100.
Oh man. Anyways,
we can talk about the Judeo Hoppas later.
Yeah, that's the pill eater take. Anyways, thank you, Sam153. Then we have a very deranged super chat.
Is it optical to read?
Let me see. Kind of.
Okay.
But it's after this one.
Okay.
Charlie Mackey for $25. Thank you, Charlie Mackey. That's not the one. It's the one by Subject to Change. Good evening. I hope you're both well. Don't take this one down till I can listen to it tomorrow morning. What, if anything, is worth surviving from our wrecked modern age in the next? Assuming this eschaton isn't coming before that, I struggle to think of any art, book, or otherwise work preserving. Well, there's tons of work worth preserving, I think.
I think we have to just go look for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of intellectual work, a lot of artwork you could think of, a lot of films. And yeah, exactly. You just have to go look for it, I think. But like I always say, if you love something, you better support it, and you better shower it with money, or you just don't talk to me. To quote Pastor Richards from Vice City. I think if you really love something, you should actually go out and support it. And you should be like...
And if you love something, you should do it.
Yeah. Except for making content. Too many people make content. Don't do that.
Don't be our competition is what Gio was saying. No, but like... I mean, like, I decided to go out and do like you can still do things depending on where you live, and I don't want that to be like a negation of perhaps our down sense of feelings. But it is certainly true that there is a lot worth doing. Like I joined my historical society, and I mean, like, there's a treasure trove of stuff that I really learned about and that I really enjoy, and I'm really glad that I did it. So it's worth your time. I would recommend it.
That's something you could do right there. You could become our clip channel.
Oh my god.
There you go. Thank you, Owen Zaleski. Okay, so but thank you, Sam153. I know I do like the anti-crowd thing, but I'm not very good at it. But no, I mean, if your desire is to do content, do it well, you know. So thank you, Charlie Mackey. And finally, Subject to Change. Please sneed those super chats. Again, I prefer Entropy. The link is right there. Subject to Change for US $50. Thank you, Subject to Change. I don't know if I could read this one.
Probably.
Oh my god, this is too much. This is a quote, like a fictional quote. Rest in peace, Dick Cheney. Did he do some bad things in life? Yes, I'm sure he did. But he was a Nietzschean, and he was so cool in Vice. Literally the #1 figure of hatred for libtards from 2001 to 2009. Michael Moore cried about him every single day. That's worth something. Some could even say he was a graper before his time. Drew Pavlou.
You know what? I could believe it. But also at the same time, I could also believe that being my friend Oinazuka Groiper. Like, I definitely could... Like, because I had said how long before contrarian revisionism of Dick Cheney, and he's just like, my friend replied, and he's just like, I'm gonna go watch Vice so many times now, so I can be Dick Cheney's top soldier. And I was like, okay, like, I was wrong.
Yeah. Vice Guide to Dick Cheney. Did they make that?
Vice's Guide to... No, the movie Vice.
Oh. The movie Vice.
Yeah.
Vice film. Oh, yeah, that's right.
By the guy who made The Big Short.
Christian Bale played Dick Cheney?
Yeah, and Sam Rockwell did Bush, who did a really fucking funny job.
I don't picture Christian Bale as Dick Cheney. They made him. They did make him look old.
Oh, they did a lot of makeup work.
Yeah, like that's basically just Christian Bale in like a Dick Cheney mask. You could like really have any actor there. That's funny. But anyways, if there is no more super chats, we will see you all next week. And I know people are going crazy right now on Twitter over the Mandani thing. And I believe the Red Scare Girls are getting various threats as we speak. So
I'm so glad this isn't my problem.
Yeah, I'm a Canadian. I have my own problems. So
yeah.
Wait, Owen Zaleski, hold on. I'm sending one.
Okay, we'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait.
We'll wait.
We're here. Wait. We'll wait.
I kind of did want to see that us, but we'll wait.
I don't pay for that shit.
Inherent Vice President. That's a good one. Inherent Vice President.
That's a good one. That's
a good one, Volpez. That's a good one. But Owen Zaleski, how do we think Trump will respond? He'll probably like make some kind of clever.
He'll make some statement and then not do anything.
Yeah.
Like I hate to be
let's be real here.
I hate to be that guy, but like, yeah, it's exactly what's gonna be. He's gonna.
Well, what can he really do? I mean, Madani was
take federal funds out of the state. I don't know.
Yeah. But like he tried that and it just didn't work. Like he had to.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, like I know he threatened to like, get rid of state funding for example, like
I know California, I think it was like $50 some odd million or something like that.
Yeah, or like states that resisted the ICE raids, but he still didn't do anything like
There's
that.
so much more that could be done on that issue alone, but that's a discussion for another time.
Right,
hopefully record with Cap on things that they could actually do.
Yeah, but no, he really can't do anything. I mean, I say democratically, like I truly do believe that well, if entropy's not working, Owen, just use YouTube. No, I mean, I think like people in New York, they weren't given really much of an option, and they weren't going to really vote for creatures of the system like Chris Cuomo. And so why didn't Eric Adams run again? Because he was just universally hated, or
well, didn't he get like indicted on that's corruption charges?
Yeah, so there you go. Like there really is no. Bodo and Zaleski says, hello, gents. Your request has been fulfilled, Brood.
I presume it's the
that was pretty fast.
Let me go check my Twitter account.
Let me go check Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. That is really good. The Frog's office in a small city. Wow.
Retweeted, Prude.
I did. I just did. That's really good, actually, and really quick. I'm impressed.
Let's see here.
Wow. Well, that's getting used in a video.
Oh my god.
That's well done, Owen. Wow. I'm impressed.
Good. Oh, that's pretty fast too.
That's good.
Share screen.
Well, that's a nice thing to end the night on.
There you go. Wow.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, that's good.
That is good.
Yeah. All right. So, gents, do you have anything?
Well, we'll be live next week on Tuesday. I put out a video this last Friday. I put some out behind the paywall at Wingman45's request. I am recording something with our other friend Volpez this Saturday. We're going to talk about Schmidt and a few other things. So, and then kind of just talk about God knows what. I don't know. I always have a good time talking with him, so it'll be fun. After that, however, I've got some real talk fishing videos in the works, which I'm excited to get out of the way. It was fun to go fishing the other week. And then more essays to come.
All right. I'll probably have something out too this week. So we'll see what happens. So anyways, as we always say, let me check if there's any more super chats. As we always say, God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
See you, gents.